All right, welcome back. We are here again, Team Gap. We finally started the playoffs. I believe this is the first one. We're getting ready to go. So playoffs, summer split, and it is today. Team Exiles versus somehow we have Girlfriends Gray. Yep, and with me today, it's IAmWay, of course, and our lovely Primus Multis here on the right, and JR on the
Oh
bottom
boy.
there.
Yeah, down here.
Let's go, boys. So, what do we have here today? We have, blue versus gray. You guys are both. JR, weren't you on blue before?
Correct. I was on blue. I decided to step down and I'm subbing for them currently.
Got you. All right, so you used to be on blue, and now you know a little bit of the inside information for us here on the stream. And Primus is not on either of these teams. Wait, what team did you sub for, Primus?
I'm on a sub for Team Go Gold Green and Silver Captain of Silver Green.
Got you. Okay, so yeah, we have a lot of subs and former player myself here, so we hopefully we can give you some inside information on what's going on. I'm already expecting quite a lot for this draft. Blue is one of those teams that just has such weird flex picks. The Kindred jungle, the Kindred ADC, the what was it? Now they have a Poppy support, so I don't know really what I'm going to expect for them because I think that some of these roster changes. I think that last one was very recent with Young Shack's now going support for them. So yeah, we have quite a bit headed in store for us going into already this first best of five that we're here to see. I think we're going to be getting into the pro draft soon. So
Yeah, it should be very interesting to see how it goes for Blue since Gray does lose all 5 of their bans. So Blue kind of just gets whatever they want when they're drafting for this first game. So probably going to see some strong picks on their side. It is probably going to be more Gray favored since they are higher seeding. So I'm excited to see what Blue is going to come out with to, get a very solid first game to get them ahead in this first series.
Right. Okay, and we are starting off the draft. It has just started. I believe this is live. Now, Gray is going to bypass all 5 of their bans, so we are just kind of a little bit of waiting room right now.
Yeah, so wait on the first ban.
All right, and now we get the real first ban. So it looks like Exiles is taking red side. Do you guys know which team got to decide what side it was?
I think since Exiles is seeded sixth, that they got to choose red side.
Yeah, I believe just for the first game, Team Exiles gets to pick the first side.
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
So banning out Husbands, Cassidon, which kind of expected on that.
Yeah, good old Snacks gets that wonderful ban. He's been pulling out a lot of KO recently. He doesn't really have that many control mages. It seems like it's only Oriana, but he has quite a bit of scaling with TF Rise and KO obviously.
Yeah, always expect the Nocturne. First ban on red side. You never want to see a Nocturne in your game. Especially since it's so good early in the draft where it can. I don't know as much now since there's, I believe, been some changes to Nocturne where it'd be flexed the top mid as well.
Yeah, he's not as great mid or top. Like he had amazing matchups,
right,
2 patches ago, I think. But now he's kind of fallen down to Riverside, and he's still pretty strong in jungle. But that's about it. Especially with the Shridebreaker changes, he was so strong like 2 patches ago, and then now it just doesn't mean as much as it used to. And they're going to go ahead and ban Xin Zhao as well. That's very strong bans coming in from what I would expect to be pretty strong flex picks. I mean, it's kind of weird to see Cassidon banned so early on in draft for me, Like, they have red side, so they have counter pick. That's like really, hey, we don't want to deal with this at all. Like, and it's funny because Arrow is normally known as like an assassin player. You think he could play like a Talon or something or a Zed if they picked a Cassidon.
Yeah, and I'm also surprised for the early Cassidon ban just because a lot of the drafts lately have been bot lane jungle picks in the first three picks in the draft. So an obvious mid ban at the very beginning of the ban phase is a little strange. You'd think they'd be banning more on the bot side or the jungle. Because, as you can see, I'm assuming is going to be probably a Trundle jungle.
I'm not sure about that. The thing is,
that one can be flexed. That one can be
it could be
flexed.
top lane, and the funny thing about this is that okay, that's not somehow we have girlfriends.
Just kidding, yeah. So it'll be a Trundle top.
Yeah.
But
wow, they're really going with the
for the
Fresh
ADC
Lord.
counterplay.
They're really going the Fresh Lord today. Yeah, no, and I like their comp just because it's thematic, honestly, nothing else. But no, Trundle is actually
the meme.
These two top laners, Persona and Aaron, actually have two very strong that have recently popped up flex slash like weird situational picks. They both play Graves and Trundle top lane, and so like very very recently both picked it up. I'm expecting Trundle and or Graves to happen like 3 to 5 games here, to be honest. So I'm not surprised at all that it was contested and picked first by Aaron, or sorry, by Persona. And I really wonder what the counterpick is going to be, because they have not counterpicked top yet. They have picked what it looks to be like Diana jungle. I don't know if Arrow plays Diana or not. So
yeah, I believe the only counterpick they'll only have one counterpick on the side of Gray, just with how the draft is going. So I mean,
yeah,
picking that top lane early, that gives the side of Team Exiles to have probably a counter on both top and mid, because I'm assuming they're going to pick now their top side first, so to at least somewhat be able to deal with the Trundle and then leave that counter pick for mid for that last pick is what I'm assuming.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. One thing I don't like about the Braum pick is that they were picked after Diana and Tristana were picked, and Braum doesn't really do great against them. Like, sure, he can technically, like, quote-unquote, eat the Tristana bomb and autos, right? But AoE is still going to go off, more than likely, right? And hit everyone on the team. And Diana is still, once again, like, the wombo that Diana has is not going to be stopped by Braum at all. Or Sejuani, for that matter.
Yeah, I don't think Braum's going to be able to stop a lot, especially with, I mean, you have the incredible dive with Leona. I mean, just the extended range of her E and just how far she can go, and she can even E through the Braum, I believe, to the ADC. If she gets the right angle, she can E through the Braum and get to whatever target is behind her. So
yeah.
That'll be interesting to watch. But yeah, I don't think Braum will be able to block too much, especially since we're seeing an Aatrox. I don't think how much he's gonna get out of his wall shield.
Right. And I mean, already, I did say I thematically like somehow we have girlfriends comp with all the Fresh Lord. But I've already noticed...
Yeah, if they don't pick Ashe, then they're memeing.
Yeah,
I mean...
But I do have to say that Exiles comp looks, quite a bit stronger. I mean, what do you think, JR?
Honestly, I have to agree with you here. Both teams look like they're looking for just straight up front to back fights. Maybe some potential for Diana to just dive in and potentially take out all the damage on the side of blue, being that misfortune.
Yeah, absolutely. And
it's a huge dive comp for Team Exiles right now.
Yeah, they're straight up just gonna go in and like Leona ult's gonna land, Diana ult's gonna land. Nothing's really gonna stop those things from happening. And I was gonna say GF's only strong point is the Trundle, but the TF is actually a really nice pick here. I think but at this point you should identify that like your strength is not gonna be like team fighting against this comp, right? Like they're gonna get to your backline, period. It's gonna be your Trundle split push with the TF, right? Like that's gotta be how you win this.
Okay, I will say it is interesting with the Kiana just because which that will be going mid, obviously, but I will say later towards the game, I mean that misfortune is going to have a lot more frontline to be able to get a really good ult off. With the Sejuani, with the Braum, with the Trundle when he gets his ultimate off on say Leona or Aatrox, it's going to be very very beefy frontline. So unless Exiles is going to get that really good dive off, that is going to be a little bit difficult for them towards the end of the game.
Yeah, I think that you're absolutely right. However, like Leona ult is always going to hit, and that Misfortune ult if she saves it, right? Like if she's in position,
Right.
I don't think there's a way that Leona ult just doesn't stop Misfortune. That's the thing. Maybe if
Right.
she's stunned by Sejuani and stuff, but yeah,
Yeah, no, as soon as like you said, as soon as that Leona calls off on the Misfortune, yeah, that'll stop it. But I think other than that, like it'll probably take a lot for them to get to that Misfortune later in the game.
No, one thing I'm noticing with or looking at the draft overall now is that I believe since Gray didn't have any bans, they kind of just want to take away picks from Red by just picking them straight out. So we see the Trundle being picked, which is the counter that Blue or Exiles usually has against Sejuani, and then you see them pick up Sejuani right after. So just taking away a pick and then a counter that Team Exiles usually picks.
Yeah, no, very intelligent on their part. I didn't even notice that. No, that's awesome. Yeah, because I mean, other than maybe the Tristana with the Kraken Slayer, like I don't think they'll be able to burst down the Sejuani as much as other carries would. Kiana probably going to build lethality. Aatrox probably going to build bruiser. You know, once Sejuani stacks her resistances, she is going to be force to be reckoned with towards the mid to late games. That'll be fun to watch. But I mean, there isn't as much damage on the side of Gray as well. So I mean, especially not as much DPS at all. Just TF. Very, very burst champion, Misfortune, pretty decent DPS, but I think that's all they have. Other than if Trundle will most likely build more Bruiser, he'll probably build Asterix and Bloodthirster, so he will have a little bit more damage, but definitely a lot more damage on the side of Team Exiles, Team Blue.
Yeah, for sure. With 2 tanks on somehow we have GFs that gives that flexibility for Trundle to build what he really needs, which looks like damage for this team, like you said.
Yeah, absolutely. Predictions are, by the way, live right now, so go ahead and get that in. I think we have about 4 minutes left on those predictions, so give away all your channel points to your nearest friend or enemy right here on the Rift right now. And if you do vote against yourself, that is match fixing, by the way. I'll definitely be keeping my eyes out for Gray to be thrown here. They don't have bans already. Who knows?
I mean, they still do have a solid comp. They are going for a bit of a possibly a bit of a side lane with the Trundle, but
yeah.
In TF, Trundle very good in the side lane. Gonna be able to duel this Aatrox, depending on if he's able to pillar Aatrox third Q.
Yeah.
But
I'm definitely worried about the dive. I mean, don't get me wrong. Sejuani and Braum with Misfortune, like Misfortune's not the most mobile ADC, but like Sejuani and Braum are serious frontline that if they just 1-3-1 or something like that, like it's gonna be hard to get past them. But at the same time, they have the champions that can do that. So I would be a little worried. Leona is just going to go right through that. Diana is just going to ult on top of that. If they can reach the Misfortune, then the 3 part of the 1-3-1 can absolutely just get collapsed on if they do not have a significant lead or the Misfortune positions badly at all, because she doesn't have a dash. I might even go Gale Force this game if I was Misfortune, probably.
Yeah, very solid pick to go Gale Force. But yeah, as soon as they touch the Misfortune, it's over. I mean, that's where I'd say 60% of their damage is going to be coming from, 20% Trundle or 15% Trundle, 25% coming from TF, depending on how ahead Husband can get versus this Kiana. Because I mean, Wei, what do you think about this mid lane matchup between TF and Kiana? Because I feel like Kiana will get a bit of an early lead.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like it heavily depends on your skill level too, because it's always been that at higher levels the assassins actually don't usually get as much of an early lead. Actually, by control mages usually bully them, right? And TF has the tools to just kind of play safe, right? And just always pick cards, and as long as he manages mana carefully and CS carefully with your opponent, you can't get dived on too hard unless they do something crazy, and that's a pretty big risk for them to take, where you have the easier to land CC point and click, and you don't control space as great as Orianna, but you're still like are going to be hard to dive. But at lower to mid levels, it's so hard to play these matchups like Victor and Orianna and TF correctly mid lane that
Hmm.
I would be very worried on the TF side. Like, you have to be very confident that you are going to know what you're doing right here. Because it is very easy to underestimate Kiana's range.
Right.
And you think you're okay, and then she dashes. She does the flash Q dash. Q pretty much guaranteed unless you flash it in the exact timing, which is barely reactable. So, I think that the nice thing about this though is you have Sejuani on your side. So if the Sejuani can make good plays around the map where Diana is going to have a harder time doing that, Kiana is not really going to get too much of a lead early, and I think that will be very useful.
Yeah, GR, I mean, so obviously there's going to be probably more of a safer bot lane, but do you think either side's gonna come ahead out of this one?
Well, coming from Team Exiles, I know that Mercury and Mars like to be super aggressive, and with the bot lane they have drafted Tristan and Leona into something like Braum Misfortune. I'd see them pushing for that level 2 advantage and try to punish somehow we have girlfriends if they step up.
Right.
I
Yeah.
don't see much jungle presence for the bot lane. I can imagine Sejuani goes mid lane early to get that TF an advantage, so he hits 6 sooner and he can just start teleporting around the map.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think Tristan and Leona is just super strong right now. That they will have probably private bot lane, but I do think that the MF Braum are just gonna be playing safe. So
Yeah.
it will that level 2 is gonna be very important. I'm excited to see how that Misfortune will able to for Hottest to at least get the minion wave where he wants it, so that he can
Yeah.
at least hit level 2 the same time as the Tristan and Leona.
Yeah, I think that this game is especially hard to play if you are Misfortune and Twisted Fate. Also, a little bit on Trundle, because if Trundle does not get like a side lane advantage at all, then you guys are kind of doomed. But for sure, Misfortune has positioned very well. Twisted Fate has to make a lot of correct calls on when to not engage and when to not ult and behind. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, even 4v5, it's a little scary to fight the enemy team. Okay, game is
very
just
scary.
now starting up.
Yeah. I will say I do love the new Sentinel Diana skin. Yeah, I
Oh,
think
I
it
have
goes
not
really
seen
great
that
with
skin.
her I guess her persona. But yeah, the Ruined Misfortune as well. Big fan. I know the lore change was kind of rough for some people. Not a fan of who got ruined and who got Sentinel, but I kind of agree with Diana getting at least the Sentinel I guess distinction. She deserves it. Some of the others maybe not so much.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Sentinel Diana skin. Diana has. I'm not sure if the Sentinel voice lines have changed for Diana, but I know that she has normally 2 different voice lines. So if you use her like the one where she has the pointy hat that looks like it's from like a Dark Souls 3 game or something. But that one she has changed voice lines. I could never tell what any of her voice lines were. I had to look them up because I don't know if it's her accent or just like the way she says it with the voice modifier, but I was straight up making things up. I was like, yeah, I sounded like a straight up Warcraft character, but it was not too unclose to what it was.
I mean, League of Legends is based off of Dota from Warcraft, so
True.
going back to the roots there, I guess. Right, but we are starting the game here, so as always, I'm with Rylion every minute of the way. I always love to see a good level 1. I love to see some shenanigans in the first minute and a half of the game. It looks like both sides are going topside, so I'm just ready. I am so hyped.
All right, there's a 3-man stack. Whoa.
Looks like both sides are kind of testing the waters, seeing if anyone's gonna pull the gun first, but it looks like they're just gonna grab some vision and then back off, sadly.
Yep. Nothing too crazy's happened already. 2 wards have gone down on the side of Persona. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, no wards on the red side by Team Gray. So Girlfriend's not deciding to, I guess, move forward, deciding to play defensive and not put any wards on the top red side. So they will just go ahead and start the red buff and blue buff on each side, just playing it safe. Care Bear, or not Care Bear, excuse me, Persona throwing a ward on the Team Blue Red. Aatrox's kind of waiting in the tri bush, but
Yeah.
should be a standard start.
One of the things that I like is that the support and the jungle use their wards, right? So Diana's still backed about Red Trinket as is, I think just like the general smart play. And then the support uses it because, yeah, you have just your ADC could ward if you need them to, but also just because I think most people don't punish this, like especially in this league. They don't realize. I mean, they probably don't even know who used their ward and who didn't use their ward in the first place. But even if they did, I'm not sure that. I think a lot of people are afraid to gank bot lane early. So
Yeah, I don't think Leon and Tristan are too worried for an early gank coming from Sejuani just because they saw that they both started topside.
Yeah, there's a skirmish going on. Both a lot of sums coming off. Misfortune is going to continue autoing. Then get the stun off onto Tristana. Tristana going to get flashed on. She will go down. That is first blood. Going on to somehow we have GFs. Maybe they get the Leona here. As keep chasing. The Brown Pass is applied and is up. Leona gets stunned and just falls.
Very
Comes a
nice.
flash at a Kiana onto TFTF looking like he's going to fall. Yes, and that is a response.
yeah, unfortunately though, the bot lane getting ahead is not great for them because they do want to be able to kill this later in the game. And your bot lane also being behind is definitely not ideal. Not exactly sure how they messed that up. The explosive shot did end up going on to Misfortune, but I think that Leona was just so late to getting in on there, and so much of the damage just was mitigated by that Braum shield at level 2. I think maybe they should have just waited a little bit longer to commit all the way.
Yeah, I think that was a little aggressive on Young Shay there, or Young Shaq, excuse me. It looked like that Leona was just too far in on the minion wave and was just, level 2 minions do so much damage. So I think Leona was just taking so much minion damage versus the Braum, who was just blocking everything, that I think that was a little aggressive on blue side. But, Iroh and Nighthawk do get the return kill on the TF, so not the worst return play, but yeah, I think the blue side bot lane was just a little too aggressive there.
Yeah. And I think one of the things you can do is bait out the Braum shield by not rocket jumping or engaging in and just throwing out the explosive charger, right? And then I'm not sure exactly what the cooldown is, but I think you might be able to get 2 explosive shots before the shield comes back up. But wait a second, they're having another fight.
Another skirmish on the bot side. The map Tristana is going to jump onto Cashier here. Cashier is going to get max stacks on the bomb. No one's going to fall just yet. Leona gets a stun onto Misfortune. Misfortune falls. Here we go, looking onto TF again. Yet again, Nighthawk and Iroh just cleaning up this Twisted Fate. Shaq's going to look back in on the engaged, but most likely going to fall here just to Braum said just has so much CC. Iroh, however, is responding. Bomb goes off onto Braum. Kiana dashes through the Sejuani. Triss continuing to auto. It looks like they're going to get out safely unless Nighthawk has something to say about it. Nope. And that was... I forgot what the overall score was there, but that was kind of crazy.
2-1?
It was a 2-1.
Yeah, they got the TF and the Misfortune kill with their power spike. It's crazy that they were able to get that, but I guess MF hadn't backed yet, so that was a big deal. She didn't back yet, right? Am I insane? But either way, yeah, definitely good for their bot lane to get back in the game.
Yeah, I don't think the MF backed, but I mean, it did go more towards more beneficial for the side of red just because they did get 2 kills for 1.
Well, and I think yeah, absolutely.
Young did die, and so did Young did die towards the end. It was looking a lot better for red. I thought that was going to be red's fight for sure, just how it was looking. But the Sejuani's still very tanky. So
yeah, I think the important thing is right, like Diana scaling, and even though Sejuani came bot, you guys like made a very good play. Like I had your bot lane kind of back into the game. They were not exactly screwed, but imagine if MF got that back off and she had those 2 long swords and dagger, like there's nothing that Tristan would have been able to do for the next like 2 or 3 minutes at least.
Right, yeah, any kill on Tristana is always good. Tristana very much benefiting off of items. You know, the quicker you can get Tristana to 2 items is very beneficial to you no matter what. So getting the bot lane, ahead was very beneficial for the side of red. So I thought that was a really good play for them, really good fight as well.
Yeah, Tristana is one of those weird, like, early aggressive carries, but also, like, hyper carry. Kind of like Jace, where, like, you basically can just kill people at level 2, level 3, right? And then after landing phase, you kind of don't do any damage if you're not super ahead until you hit, like, 3 items. So...
How are we gonna get aggressive here? A lot of poke onto TF might be forced to back here, because if Nighthawk shows up, TF might just die again.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like what I was saying. Like, you can kind of abuse. He's actually doing a really good job, Snax is, of staying kind of even.
Comes another engagement to the bot lane. Yungshak's falling yet again. Tristana having to jump out. That is not a good look for Team Exiles right now for their bot lane.
Yeah.
Yeah, even with that them coming back after that last play, MF hiding behind the Braum, just throwing her Qs, just showing the blue side, the team blue bot lane, like, don't mess with us. What Noodlefied top, and then Iroh
Ooh.
hardcore flexing on Kiana.
Wow. Does he get out though? He gets out with the mastery.
Yep. I mean, I kind of just saw that one coming, but it's one of those things that you really have to respect. Like, you cannot afford to think like, oh, I'll be fine here. Like, if I miss this, I can't afford to miss this wave. You have to be like having your jungler come or something, because you really have to respect that power spikes. And that's kind of been happening all game, just TF getting caught one way or the other by the Kiana, right?
Yeah, I kind of assumed that once Kiana hit 6, that she would be a lot stronger than this TF. TF only being able to use his ultimate to teleport, whereas Kiana can use her ultimate, aggressively, offensively. That TF really has to respect that, and also respect the burst coming from Kiana. As soon as TF moves up, he has to be ready for that, that dash Q that Kiana can just burst him down so quickly. Iroh taking him down 50%, at a time is just, it's tough for TF.
Yeah, and I had originally said that Kassadin ban was a little weird, but maybe this was the strat, right? Because if he had picked Kassadin, I think he wouldn't have like walked up to the wave at all, right? And he played like super safe, but kind of that. It's like kind of just like knowing your character, right? Like, because he's TF, he's like, oh yeah, I can play closer, like, and you just underestimate it just a little bit, and then you get that easy kill by Kiana, that pickup, that QE
Here
dash.
comes the ult out of Aatrox, or Aaron Omnivan, pardon me. This is gonna go back and forth here. As Aatrox ult is expiring, Trundle wants to look to capitalize on this. Aaron's gonna knock him up. Here comes, you see the lifesteal on Aatrox, just keeping him roughly at the same HP, but Trundle pops his, some potions of his. Not sure what he exactly took.
Yeah, just the ultimate, I think, or maybe a health pot. But okay. Oh,
See another dive. Both flashes coming out of the mid laners. TF he is gonna ult onto Kiana. Kiana's gonna walk down. Kiana gonna miss
he
the
lands
ult,
the
but
wild card.
Ooh.
Oh, there it
yeah.
is.
very nice.
A flash out of Dan to take out the TF yet again.
Yeah. So there,
Yeah, we
that
didn't need to see that.
that was very nice that time. Expecting the Kiana to come in and flashing it, you just kind of have to guess that she's gonna do it, and then. Ooh.
Kiana gonna miss her ult, but here comes
that's so
Exile's
bad.
bot lane. But there is a pink ward there, so Gray is very much aware of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nighthawk misjudging the length of his ultimate. But I will say that was really good on Persona. He did dodge the second Q from the Aatrox, which I think would have knocked him up. And honestly, I think Aatrox could have killed him. So Persona dodging a Q or two, which is really good, especially when Aatrox is in his ultimate.
Here comes Nighthawk with another gank on the top lane. Trundle gonna try to run away. Aaron lands a CC, but Trundle flashes and probably gets away since Nighthawk doesn't have his ulti.
Yeah, and they're not actually sure where Sejuani is. I mean, TF ult's down, but yeah, they are just gonna let him get away. And actually, I think that Persona's playing this lane pretty well top line, because like Aatrox will just straight up beat you with the ultimate, so he had to use his ultimate kind of in response. And then he has more sustain with his passive, right? So he just keeps staying top lane, and the Aatrox can't find an opportunity to kill him, then it's good for him.
Yeah.
Sejuani looking for the Leona. Note that Aatrox does have TP and Trundle does not. Here we see somehow we have GF just walking into Red's jungle, trying to push them off of this dragon because they know that Team Exiles does have TP advantage.
Yep, and yeah, Aatrox was forced to back there because Persona is just staying alive the entire time, going for that grasp instead of PTA. Oh,
Leona is gonna get a nice art to two members. Misfortune also gets a nice art. Tristana jumps into the Misfortune, but is the CC'd and is gonna fall even though she has cleanse. Aatrox joins the fight. He's gonna start hitting Sejuani, and looks like Leona is also no. Leona does not fall. Sej falls, and wow, that is a 2 for 2.
Hair Bear whiffing the Sejuani ult was, I think, a huge misplay. Probably could have hit two members there, and I don't know if it would have swayed the fight, but that was disheartening. They, and like you said, they did have the Aatrox ultimate, so Trundle instead deciding to take Blade's top, and Persona trying to do what he can to remedy the play. But Red did not end up going, or excuse me,
right.
Get the dragon, yeah.
They didn't even get the dragon. Actually, I think this was such a... Persona, I will say, I bag on people all the time for not split pushing in times that they should. Persona, he split pushes too much sometimes. But here, I think it was... I don't think he needed to die for it. He was kind of fine after he got the 3 platings. But... Oh, he went for 4. He's insane.
Yeah, which they did have a ward on dragon, so they should have known that Team Exiles did not end up going for the dragon, so he probably should have expected, someone to answer him taking plate's top, because it looks like they don't have any vision on the river. He only had vision near the tri-brush, so he maybe should have expected that they were coming for him, because as soon as they left mid lane, he had no idea where they are.
Right. And here's the thing, right? Like, now they can pick up Rift, and Aatrox got a plating in return. So that's why I think that Persona should have backed off once they found out that they weren't doing Dragon, right? And Aatrox left. Because now it's not as good as it was looking before. Like, before 2-2 and getting 3 platings, that's extremely good that your team was able to trade evenly. Even if they didn't trade evenly and the enemy team got the dragon, if it was any dragon but Ocean Dragon, I would have still said worth, because you get 3 platings out of that and you basically win top lane.
Yeah, but also blue side, Team Grey does get the dragon, so they lost some plates, or they gained some plates top lane, and they got the dragon. So
I'm just gonna go in with her R, but Tristan is gonna be able to hop away.
Because they are gonna answer the rift top side.
Yep, 7 seconds to spare, but that is gonna get them 1 extra plating, and this is the thing, right? Maybe they wouldn't have traded Dragon, but they for sure would not have been able to get Rift if Trundle had backed at an appropriate time and get 4 platings off of that play. So, just the small things that add up, right?
Right. Yeah, Persona a little too greedy for that topside plate. He almost got that 4th plate, and then he died for it. So
I think it's interesting that he opted for the anti-heal first instead of trying to finish his Sunderer, because basically once Trundle has Sunderer, you can't kill him, period, in a side lane. Is my thought process. Maybe against Aatrox is different, but I do...
I will say, as an Aatrox main, I hate to see the Bramble. It makes me sad.
Lots of poke coming out. TF ult is going to be pop, but it's actually going to channel, but Kiana stops the TF ulti. Leona does fall in that 2v2 though, and it's just 1 for 1 both sides.
Yeah, fights are happening all around the map at the same time, and I think that's kind of just the play when you have a TF, right? Is like force the TF so that he can't ult and stuff like that. So keeping very good tabs on that, at least Arrow is. I do think it's interesting. So MF is going to have a little bit more leeway in lane with this Kraken, and obviously she's making good use of it right now. I'm a little worried in the future when she gets dived on if it's going to be enough, though.
I will say Ira is popping off on this Kiana. That was, I think, a really good pick for Team Blue. Obviously, Ira very comfortable on that champion. He's really showing it on TF, but fight on the bot side.
Yeah, the junglers are going to meet in the tri-bush. Leo goes onto their backline. They are going for the full dive onto MF. She does have Max Lock Bomb, but Tristana just gets stunned up. Here comes a TP from Trundle joining the fight. Nighthawk falls. Leona is set to fall as well. And wow, that is 3-for-0, going for somehow we have GFs, and they're gonna look to just push in for this bot tower as well.
Yeah. Already, kind of what you were saying about the Kiana. I mean, remember they had no bans, right? I think the Kiana gets banned because, like, regardless win or loss next game, it's like one of his best AD assassins, I believe, for Arrow, and it's kind of hard to deal with for a lot of teams. So I do think that we are not going to be seeing any more Kiana, and maybe but I do think that if Arrow does get an AD assassin he's proficient at, I don't know what Snax's counterpick is going to be mid lane, right? Like, is it Orianna?
Yeah, which Ira's also a good Azir player, so he still can play those control mages. But yeah, he is very comfortable on those AD assassins, which I doubt he'll be able to play Kiana again. Now I am. Oh,
Trundle is getting caught out, but looks like nothing's gonna happen because there are still 4 members from Gold Gray on the bot side of the map.
I find it so weird that Trundle's bot lane right now.
Yeah, I definitely think after he helps push in the wave, he just backs and goes back to his lane instead of staying all the way, unless like they wanted to maybe take the bot tier 2.
Okay, well, he got the Sunder, which is really big for him now. The thing is like, Trundle cannot go unchecked. Trundle is right now the best top laner at taking towers and split pushing. If purely for split pushing, if we're not talking about, like, rotating and anything else, like, Trundle is the fastest at taking all your towers, pretty much.
No, you do have a pause here. What is this? Somehow Gold Gray's mid laner's mouse died. So he's swapping out the batteries on his mouse.
Yep, we're just gonna take a little, little commercial break, a little breather right now. While we're going, let's talk kind of about the state of the game. So I mean, who do you guys think is winning and kind of where are we at now? I mean, we're looking at pretty much both teams have taken one tower.
Yeah, I mean, they just didn't pause, but I definitely think that blue side is getting what they want. Their main objective is to get this MF super big. They want a big MF. They want her to do as much damage from the backline as they can. Sejuani 3-1-3. She's already got her Iron Strawberry and a Brumble. She's big. She can block as much as she can. She can throw her ult on the Kiana, on the Aatrox, on the Diana. Whoever is trying to get to that MF. So I do think Team Gray is getting what they want for the moment. They are, 1.5k gold up, so it's going in the favor of Gray. We will see if it can go either way, just because Team Blue can get those picks if they come up. As soon as someone on Team Gray makes a mistake, they capitalize on it. They full dive. As soon as they grab the MF or the TF, maybe not the TF as much just because of how behind Snax is, but I think as soon as they catch the MF out, they can capitalize. I mean, we'll see if this is... Oh, just kidding. Rom comes out, he W's out, but yeah, I think that for Team Blue to win right now, they need to get picks because Team Gray just wants to play front to back, so...
Yeah, and maybe if not picks, as long as they can get on the MF, whatever they do, it's pretty much all it takes.
Right.
She is like 2k gold ahead of Tristana, and she is like definitely carrying their damage right now.
Pardon me, my game froze. What's your guys' game timer at?
1840.
1840?
Oh, okay, perfect. It fixed itself, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's because of the pause.
Yeah. So it was a quick pause, so we didn't have to, wait too long, thankfully.
You see, Aatrox popping is ultimate. Gonna try going for the chase. Leo hits her E. MF hits a really nice ult, zoning the team. Braum follows up with his R. Everyone's just slow and burning. And there goes Aatrox falling. Sejuani goes onto the Leo. Not gonna get much there. Diana gets a nice re-engage. Kiana follows with a one-man ult. Tristana jumps in, gets lots of damage. Almost kills Sook, but gets the Braum. Wow. That is a 3-for-1?
Yeah, I think that they just jumped the gun slightly too early there, right? Like, Leona wasn't able to get on top of MF. Diana wasn't able to get on top of MF till later. She didn't have flash up, so she had no way to access backline. Like, if they had just waited, like, maybe a little bit longer, they could have went for that. Or maybe they just don't do it just yet, because they didn't really have what it took to, I think, break to MF at that point.
Yeah, I think Team Blue got exactly what they wanted, just on the wrong members. They got They got the Diana ult. They got the really Aatrox knocked up 4 members, except for the MF. They got everyone except for the MF,
Yeah.
I believe.
And
So I mean, that's the whole front line, the front to back that Team Grey's trying to play. That the MF just needs to not get touched, and it doesn't matter because the entire front line of Grey is just so big that yeah, you can throw whatever ultimates and knockups and abilities you can, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, if they can't touch them up, it does not matter. Now, they do have 2 things going for them in the next 5 minutes. One, they got that dragon, so that's already good because that is a win con. They are hopefully going to have a better team fight at some point than the enemy team, and if they can force fights through dragons, elder, baron, whatever they can, that's what it's going to take. But the second thing is that MF has no flash for the next 5 minutes because that flash was definitely well used and not getting lomboed there. But now for the next 5 minutes, she has to be very careful.
Yeah, very important. MF needs her flash to counter every single bit of engage that Team Blue has. Once again, they touch at MF, she's probably dead. Right. As soon as she gets any bit of CC, every single member is going to follow up on that.
Right, and she has
will see. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Ooh. Okay, looks like Baron
looks
is
like
gonna be...
Gray's setting up for Baron vision. Most of Team Blue is sitting around that mid side, so we'll see. There'll probably be a little bit of fight for vision. I foresee getting some poke on Trundle. Not much, you know. Once again, I will say for the dragons, it's very adamant that Team Blue takes the dragon. Not as much. It'll definitely help them for their team fight, so you know they can stay stronger and they can, you know, stay longer in those initial dives. But I think it's a lot more important that they don't give that Mountain Drake to the side of Team Grey. If you give all of that front line extra shields, that is horrible for the side of Team Blue, if you ask me.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing that is nice is that they don't have a lot of damage, so it still is just at the end of the day a matter of getting to MF.
Right.
And it looks like that they're really gonna push their luck here with this Baron. Oh, maybe they're just looking for a bait.
Looking for the fight. Leona's gonna still stunned up. TF TP is onto the Diana. Diana forced to flash away. TF still gets a gold card off, and looks like Diana is gonna fall. And yeah, that's just 2 for 0. Yet again, looks like they're poised to take this Baron.
Yeah, I think that was a little greedy on the side of Team Blue, just because they knew the Aatrox and the Tristana were mid. So no matter what, it was going to be a 4v3 fighting for this vision. I think they should have committed either, probably the Kiana, just give up the mid prow if they're going to try and fight for vision in their jungle. Team Grey being smart, you know, manning the vision so that no matter what they had, because they saw the Aatrox bot, they saw the Tristana mid, they knew no matter what they had a numbers advantage to fight for this vision, and they just locked down the members of Team Blue and take the Baron.
Yeah, this is just tremendous for them. Like, they're gonna have a huge wall to climb right now. Baron minions already are so difficult to take. They do have Tristana with, you know, 1 item and boots, but it's just gonna be so tough. The thing is like, when Gray's comp is behind, it's like, you know, whatever, like they have a little bit of pick potential, but not really, because your team's going to be grouped anyways. But when they're ahead, the fact that they can just take, you know, 4v4, 3v4s without too much of a problem, it's very dangerous.
And here we see another fight for this dragon in this choke point. Trundle is going to go into the Diana. They're just 1v1ing on this side of the wall. MF gets an ult off, but she's going to get Kiana ulted and Leo ulted. Will she fall? No, she does not. She's... wow. Sorry, there's just so much going on right now. But it looks like Team Grey is just wiping the floor, and it's gonna be a 5 for 0 fight for this dragon.
Yeah, that MF was like, once again, another great flash, like literally nothing personnel, and Arrow was literally had no idea where she was, got mixed 6 ways till Sunday, threw the Q backwards, which would have hit if MF was stunned on the other side, but the flash behind Arrow, and he had no idea, and she just takes out the Kraken, and I think that they can just break the knees here, take an inhib, maybe even take the mid tower. They're gonna take the dragon along with it.
Yeah, there are 10 seconds on most of the side of Team Blue, so they are just gonna recall. They're gonna take the inhib. Probably gonna go for this mid tower, or at least try to. The wave probably not gonna be in their favor, so they might just back off here. But yeah, they're just the side of Team Gray is just too strong. I mean, the thing is, like, I think it all stems from that early bot lane. Like, Tristana, Leona not able to get ahead. Misfortune, Braum able to get a little bit more ahead. Trundle, Persona a little caught out here.
Ooh,
So
yeah.
they're gonna get him out. But no, I honestly think that it really was dependent on the bot lane getting ahead early. What they needed. You know, they picked the Leona, Tristana. They wanted to get ahead early. They wanted to hit that level 2 and get a double kill, but they weren't able to execute. And then, you know, they had to try and use several, you know, bot lane plays to try and get ahead, and I just don't think they got ahead enough.
Right. Yeah, I think at this, I mean, pretty much Gray is just going to bleed them dry at this point. They've already have one inhib. There's a short reprieve while we wait for both Baron and Dragon to come up within the 3 to 4 minute mark. But we are just, you know, basically Exiles is like, have mercy. Like, just finish us in one blow at this point. They're definitely like barely hanging on. Gold
Yeah, I do
lead.
want to give compliments to the side of blue. Well, I guess it just got it's now getting cleared, but they did have 3 pink wards on the top side jungle. You know, when you're super behind, it's really tough to protect your jungle, and it's really good to have a lot of vision. You know, as towers go down, to at least have some vision of where your enemy team is coming. But it's all
yeah,
been
another
cleared.
fight breaking out in the top side of the jungle. Leo just gonna fall yet again. That is 9 deaths on this Leona. Kiana gets a nice, there was a 3-man ult. Sedge also gets a 1-man ult. MF is fallen. Diana goes onto the back line, but she dies.
Okay.
And wow. Team Exiles comes out on top.
Oh.
Everybody running for the hills, but Persona taking a top Nexus turret.
Yeah, I mean, this is what Trundle's doing. I mean, they had a really good team fight.
And Sejuani lives, by the way. Sejuani's recalling, and Tristana's coming back.
And it's still going. Persona looking for how he can get out of this. He took the ult, got the increased stats. It's hard for Aatrox to kill him. And he just barely gets missed by that Kiana Q. Good juke.
Wow, and they burned the Leona ultimate just to try and lock him down. If that doesn't show how strong or how ahead this Team Grey team is, then I don't know what is. Sejuani and Trundle both live in both of those fights.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's normal Trundle things. But see, that's the thing is like, even at that point where you finally figured out how to team fight better than them and whatever, I think it's just too late now. Like, a little bit of commentator's curse because, that said, big shutdown 1k gold went to Arrow, who just annihilated the Misfortune. But Misfortune's flash is going to be coming up soon, and even in the fight that you won, right, you lost 2 towers and an inhib. 3 towers and an inhib? No, 2 towers and an inhib.
2 towers and an inhib.
Right.
Yeah, just nasty.
Yeah, no, Team Blue's base is no longer existent. They have 1 single Nexus turret, they have 1 middle turret, and they have 1 inhib.
Trundle is just like fighting the entire team. Lots of ults being used on Trundle. That was Tristana ult, Kiana ult, and Leo ult, but Trundle just walks away. TF pops his ult, maybe looking for an engage as soon as the tower falls. Nope.
Yeah, let's not doubt this Trundle first pick. They knew exactly what they were doing, putting Persona on this Trundle.
Yep, I mean, he definitely did the split pushing that he needed to do.
Looks like they're fighting for the base. Misfortune gets a nice 4-man ulti, but it is cancelled. Kiana gets onto MF, but MF lives because of the sheer amount of peel that Team Grey has, and that looks like that is the end for game 1.
Yep.
Yeah, that is the game.
Beautiful cleanup. I mean, they just had a lead and they never lost it. MF died a total of 2 times, and like I said, the pressure was definitely on her to stay alive that game, and stay alive, she did a very good job of, so what can I say?
Wow, you know, as we talked about early in the game, this game will come down to, can they kill the Misfortune? The answer was they could not. That Misfortune died 2 times. She got 15 kills and 10 assists on Hottest Cashier. So, Yeah, Gray got what they wanted.
All right. Yeah, very, very nice. And I do wonder what we're going to be looking at for the next game. I mean, they won that game without bans, and I don't think it was optimal. I do still think it was like one in draft for Team Exiles overall. And they just made a few mistakes early that pretty much cost them the snowball into the game. But imagine how formidable they're going to be with bans now, because you can bet it that there's no Kiana going to be in this next game. And that was one of their strongest members.
It does look like that Team Gray will, or excuse me, Team Blue will be going blue side this game, is apart from last game.
All right, beautiful. And do they already send draft, or can one of you guys make the draft, lol? Pretty please.
I
I
can
don't know
make
who's
it.
making draft.
And while we're getting that, let me finish out the predictions. Let's see what we were looking at. All right, 93%. So we have girlfriends. Definitely not betting against themselves this time around. Snacks, of course. Not paying out a huge lot, but the entirety of the 300 I guess coin was given over to that side. So good stuff to Snacks.
Oh, no. Nighthawk posted the draft like just beat me.
Okay, so we have our draft link.
All right, now Team Exiles has blue side. They get the first pick. So my question is, did they first pick the Trundle, or do they pick the Graves or something and ban the Trundle? I wonder, because the thing is that Persona, I'm gonna be honest, he's not the most mechanically gifted League of Legends players. He has to work elsewhere to make his ends meet, and that elsewhere is definitely playing Trundle. Fits his playstyle so well. If he can play these split pushers and these just characters that have such, so hard to deal with and unconventional playstyles, then Persona's kind of doing what he wants to do, because he doesn't care if he loses early game. He's gonna win the game somehow.
He's definitely I want to pick safe picks for mid to late game, and that's honestly how most top laners should play, unless they are one of those top laners where it's like, give me a carry, and I will carry, which honestly is not that many top laners. As a former top laner myself, I am not as mechanically gifted. Don't give me the carries, because I will not carry. So give me the Cho'Gath, give me the Ornn, give me the Trundle where I can just play safe and just lose the early game, and then mid to late game it doesn't matter, because I pick a champion that I excel no matter what, whether I win or lose. Now, Gray was early enough at the beginning to where the Trundle was still kind of strong no matter what. So the Trundle was never behind. He was pretty much even with the Aatrox the whole game. So it was never a question of, I'm playing Trundle, I'm behind, what am I going to do? It was, I'm Trundle, so now it's who do I ult so I can steal their resistances.
He has options. And that's why I think that they should ban the Trundle, because it's one of his best and only split pushers that Persona I think plays well. Because outside of that, everything else is team fight oriented, and they didn't punish it. That was a first pick Trundle, and it did not really get punished at all, right? By the Aatrox, which, to be fair, I'm not gonna say that any of that was really Aaron's fault, right? Their team was made around fighting team fights, and I think that all the mistakes that happened was prior to the point where Aatrox was really in the game, right?
Right, I will say Aatrox. Oh, I guess Aaron and Aatrox both played. He had some really good team fights, because I remember they had that mid game fight, and Aaron, I believe it was either 1 or 2 straight 4-man knockups. I know it was at least 1 where he knocked up the entire team I think outside of Misfortune, it was either his second or third Q,
Yeah.
which was really good on his part. He did what he had to do. Main mission of Aatrox: knock up as many people, stay alive as long as you can, and just be a nuisance. Is typically how I play Aatrox. A
Absolutely.
little more bruiser and just be a nuisance. Try to knock up as many people.
Right.
Go for the carries because you can, because you have the lifesteal. Which I think Aaron did do. It's just they couldn't lock down the Misfortune. Was what it came
Right.
down
Right.
to.
All right. Well, sorry to interrupt you here, but we're gonna switch off to the draft. JR, what's going on? Tell me what's going on.
Well, Exiles does not want to face the Trundle, so they just ended up first picking the Trundle, and then somehow we have GFs responded with Zyra Rakan, which is really cool to see because I haven't seen this in quite a long time actually.
Yeah, it looks already like they're switching places, right? Like now, Exiles has picked the things that are like, hey, we don't want to get dived and we just want to split push with the Trundle, and somehow we have GFs looks more possibly team fighty, right? Already with Zaya Rakan.
They're gonna take the Sejuani as well.
Okay.
Wow. So they're just robbing two, just matching two out of the three picks
Hey,
from somehow we have GF's last draft.
hey, ditto. I mean, hey, we like the way that looks. I'm aware, bro. That's what they said, dude. They were like, nice Jays. And if we can't beat them, we're gonna join them, and they're joining them. Two Frizzler picks already. Lots of aesthetic coming out from both sides, and I love the Poppy pick here. It's definitely support Poppy, because I
Yep,
know that Jumpstarks plays
100%.
it. And the thing is, that's even gonna stop the Gnar
Wow,
from
they
jumping
picked
in.
Nor into Poppy. Shax must be on top of the world right now.
I, I'm not too certain about like playing into what the Poppy wants to do here. Like, it seems rough. I wonder what the Gnar Trundle matchup is. I have not played that myself, but I feel like if Trundle makes it to level 6, he destroys Gnar.
I will say, as you know, I've played the Gnar Eternal matchup. It is favorable if Gnar can do his best to stay away from the Trundle, but as soon as the Trundle gets on the Gnar, there is zero counterplay
Yeah,
coming from the Gnar.
I mean,
So it is literally Gnar's biggest, I guess, proponent to stay as far away from the Trundle as you can,
yeah,
especially in Mega Gnar, or excuse me, in Little Gnar. As your Little Gnar, you can't touch the Trundle; he will wipe you off the face of the earth. But the bans come. Yone, Kiana, they're trying to ban out, the Iroh on his mid lane. A lot of mid lane bans. So Yone, Kiana, and Rise. So it looks like both sides are trying to ban out other, Snacks and Iroh, husband and wife, on their mid lane picks. So we will see if it's a fourth mid lane ban, and it is. Looks like the Anivia ban coming out from Team Exiles. So 4 bans coming out on the second round.
yeah. They were not okay with AD mids, and they weren't okay with other mids as well, apparently. But yeah, getting rid of a lot of Arrow's pool, but here's the deal, right? With the comp that they have, I don't think they need Arrow to be good. It's kind of like, I'm not sure how much it would have mattered anyways. They kind of have Poppy, which just ruins everything that everyone on their team wants to do except for Hecarim.
Yeah, looks like they just picked Tekram for that unstoppable and yeah, that early game pressure as well.
Yeah.
I'd also like to point out you guys were right. They did take out the Kiana because that was quite a disgusting Kiana performance last game.
Yeah. And Exile still, they have the exact same phase 1 bans with that Kassadin. Once again, I mean, it just seems like even if Arrow wasn't going to play Kiana to punish the Kassadin, I feel like he would have had something else to punish the Kassadin. But that's fine. They don't want to deal with it. They want to make sure that they have better rotations. And I think this game. Ooh, Silas. Okay, they got a little bit of
Silas.
Could this possibly be a lane swap? I know that he has a good matchup against Gnar. At least pre-changes that he got. His last.
I think it's a bit of a skill matchup, but I still think that's going mid. Um, it is kind of funny that Team Blue is copying kind of the front to back from the side of Gray from last game, whereas now Gray is kind of going for that dive, that assassin dive comp.
Yeah, I mean,
So they're kind of switching stories right now. It looks like they kind of just flipped, and it's like Gray is like, okay, we're gonna go for the more dive aggressive, and Team Blue, Team Exiles is going for more of that front to back. Outside of, I mean, they have the front line, so they have the Trundle and Sejuani, but they still do have the Kai'Sa ult, Silas chains, the Poppy. I believe it's her E, where she can dive towards an opponent. Which I'm actually curious if they're going to be able to deal with the Akali Hecarim.
One thing I find interesting about the draft here is, if you notice from Team Exiles, they showed the Cassio, but then quickly switched to Silas last second, which really shocked me because look at like the short range that Team Exiles does have, and they're playing into Xayah, which Xayah wants them all to be close range so she can throw feathers behind them and then pull them in for massive damage.
yeah.
So I was really surprised when Team Exiles picked the Silas last.
I think the Silas is such a weird pick in general. I mean, literally, they had not shown any good ults for Silas. Honestly, these are all like not optimal until the Akali pick, which was last pick, and yeah, they had to ruin at the very end by giving Silas a good ult, but he literally had no good ults to steal.
Like maybe there's a Nocturne or an Alistair or something of the sort that Silas can steal, but I mean maybe the Hecarim ult, but that's.
The Hecarim and the Gnar ults are like okay ultimates, but they're not like hey, let's pick Silas here, like sort of ultimates. But Akali on the other hand does give him an option, so I think it kind of gave him an out there. Their bot lane, I did say that I think Poppy was a good pick, idealistically for what their comp wants to do. I kind of would have liked them to pick, instead of Sejuani, something that could have options between top and like to shadow Trundle, because he could get counterpicked, or just to make sure that fights one, so maybe like Nocturne or something. But it seems like it's fine. I'm just worried about the Kai'Sa and the Silas. Like, these characters need to get ahead. Like, the Silas matchup versus Akali is like, I don't know what it is since Akali's been nerfed, but it does seem kind of volatile. And then on the bot side, Poppy and Kai'Sa have very low range, and while they're going to be very useful mid to late game, provided they don't get ahead early, and that key provision was the caveat that led to the loss last game, correct?
Do you think that the Poppy will be enough to, I guess, counter the Rakan jumps in the bot lane to where Kai'Sa can get ahead? I think that'll be very important, to where if Rakan can't get onto the Kai'Sa, do you think it's possible that the Kai'Sa can just out-damage the Rakan and Xayah?
The problem that I see is that Kai'Sa tends to be a but somewhat weak pick as an ADC right now. And I think that even with the Rakan not getting Poppy's going to have to do a lot of damage, and Kai'Sa's going to have to get Q solo. But besides that, I kind of just feel like Xayah just walks up and does as much. Like if Rakan goes in, they can be punished, is what I'm trying to say. But if Rakan doesn't go in, and Xayah and Rakan just walk together, right? And Xayah just auto-attacks them, what are they going to do, right? Kai'Sa gets outranged by Xayah. Poppy gets outranged by Xayah. If Xayah's not standing next to a wall, then Poppy really has no options, right?
Do you think there's a better pick than the Kai'Sa that I guess Team Blue could use moving forward?
Yeah, I think Jinx, Kog'Maw.
Jinx rockets, yeah.
You just need something that outranges the Xayah and is hyper carry, right? That's pretty much all you need. Preferably a Runan's character. Ashe would have been fine too. But yeah, any of those three picks. Hell, Aphelios if you know how to play it, but it's kind of a lot harder. I definitely think for ease of access, you just pick Jinx or you pick Kog'Maw.
And I will say I'm kind of confused by Team Blue's comp, just because, like Gray picked last game. You pick the Trundle, you pick the Sejuani to play front to back. Yet Kai'Sa and Silas excel at exactly doing the opposite. They are short range. they want to dive in, and you throw in the Poppy, and it's like, well, you have three really good frontliners, yet
Right.
you have a short range carries. So like,
I
and
don't.
you're going into an Akali and Zaya. So I'm like a little confused by Team Exiles comp, but we will see if it works out for them. We will have the 3 minute spectator wait, but
Yeah. Well,
I don't know.
I definitely do agree quite a bit with what you're saying. I mean, the nice thing about Silas is that he can take Gnar ult or Kali ult and be useful anyways. And Gnar ult, he can sort of just continue playing front to back and staying alive, kind of, but it's going to be easy for them to take him
Right.
out. On the other hand, Kaisa is generally known for being a dive-oriented character, but she is one of those weird versatile picks, and that's why she was picked a lot in the very beginning of the split of the league, this season split. She was picked a lot by Korean and professional players because while she was very good at diving, she was also actually very good at front to backing. You just change your build and change your playstyle a little bit, and she can play that way. I just think that with the nerfs, that she's so weak early game, and she doesn't really express her power level by the time you reach mid game either. So I just think it's a weaker pick in general. But we'll see if they have something to tell me instead, because when Kaisa gets ahead, it's going to be very hard for the enemy to get rid of her. Unlike MF, who was their only damage last game with the comp on the opposite team, they have Kaisa and they have Silas, and Kaisa is a way more mobile ADC, and Silas also deals a lot of damage. So we'll see if they're able to change.
I mean, JR, we did say the MF Braum would be the weaker side, and yet they came out on top. So do you think that we are wrong once again, that the Zyra Khan's going to come out on top, or do you think Zaya Poppy is going to make us wrong once again, that
Kaisa
we suck at predicting the bot lane? Do you think the Kaisa or Poppy are going to come ahead?
I honestly, I can't give my opinion on this because I haven't seen enough Poppy support, so I don't know how bad it is for the Rakan to play this lane. I really don't know what to think here.
All right, here's my big brain prediction. All right, the secret tech that Shax has been working on. When the Rakan walks up to Q him, he's gonna walk forward in the bush, flash behind the Rakan, and jump him into the wall in the middle of the lane, and they're gonna just destroy him. And then he's gonna pop the can't move, and Rakan is just gonna fall for it.
If that happens, I will donate 5 subs. 100%. If that exact thing happens, wait, say it to me one more time, just so I can know. If that
Poppy
exact
is gonna
thing
flash.
happens,
Poppy's gonna
Okay.
flash headbutt the Rakan into the
Into the
middle
wall.
wall. Right?
Right.
It's gonna be insane. Kaisa's gonna get the empowered Q off, and the Rakan
Right.
is gonna try to dash out, and he's gonna fail. That's the prediction.
because he can't, because of the Poppy, what is it, her W? Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think it's her W, yeah, but
Yeah, if that happens, that will be insane that you called that.
Yeah, I'm donating 5 subs. 100%. I am donating 5 subs if that freaking happens. No
I have
doubt.
the wrong prediction up in chat. I should have said is way right.
Is way right. Yeah, throw up a poll if that happens. We'll see what happens. I will be right back as the game continues. It's about to load up, so I will be right back.
Yeah, I did go ahead and throw up the prediction.
oh yes, thank you
in
very
chat.
much.
So yeah, everyone watching, put your points in.
Yeah, I think that Poppy's Q also grounds, if I'm not mistaken. So
Sorry, pardon. Which ability?
her Q, the thing she throws, she makes the ground turn brown. Like she gets rid of the grass. I don't know. The lawnmower ability. I don't know what it's called, but she puts her hammer on the ground.
Oh. Wait, what about the ability? Sorry.
I said that I think it grounds.
Oh, wait, when it hits the target?
Yeah.
Does it
Creating a
actually?
zone that will slow enemies and explode. I'm not sure if it grounds.
I wouldn't know. I never played Poppy in my life.
Let me test. I know there's only a few abilities that actually ground. Cassiopeia's dash is one of them. Cassiopeia's poison mist, her E ability is one of them that grounds, and the other one that I know
Yeah.
for certain is singed goo. Let me check.
Marky Mark Vibes in chat says that it does not ground.
Okay, yeah, it doesn't. I just checked the wiki as well. So okay, it's just the W that they have to worry about.
All right, I have returned, and once again, I will be very, very upset if there's not a level 1 fight. And I am fueling my inner white lion, and I want to see some shenanigans. I am already seeing the side of Team Blue ready to meet someone. It looks like Zaya might get caught out. Please give me some.
Oh, here we go. Rakan is wow. Poppy gets a flash onto Zaya and the pillar. That was beautiful. Zaya gets get knocked up, and that is first blood for Team Exiles. Complete opposite of last game. I'd like to point out that that was amazing. Trundle threw the pillar down, and Poppy flash headbutted into the pillar. Absolutely insane.
Yeah, actually,
That was so clean because it was a hex flash by Poppy. It wasn't even a regular flash that requires long cooldowns. That was a hex flash that she landed that did all of that. The only sum that was burned on the side of Team Blue was the ignite, which I mean,
wait, wasn't it
isn't
flash?
as-
Wait, wasn't it
No,
flash?
it
it was
was
a hex flash. It was a hex flash.
Was it hex? Wait, so he flashed
Well, I guess it was
earlier?
the regular flash, but Poppy still has hex flash.
Yeah.
Excuse me, sorry. Poppy used regular flash, but she still has the
Yeah,
the
so
hex
she
flash
still
Yeah,
has like
for-
half
so
a
it's
summoner.
for landing
so
phase.
worth it.
So that was exactly what I wanted. That's exactly how I wanted to play out. We love it. We love to see it. We love to see it.
Just note that the kill did go over to the Kaisa, so maybe our bot predictions go the other way. Silas does get a nice trade onto the Akali.
Yeah, wait, we might just suck at predicting bot lanes, and that this guy said Poppy just wins.
I mean, it
And-
just depends. I think that regardless of how draft goes, teams always have the final say and how the game will actually be played, right?
Right.
So
Oh yeah, for sure.
as much as I would like, oh,
Well, Khan gets a nice two-man knockup, but nothing to be had since Zad does not have our pull. Team Exiles bot lane does hit level 2 first. They're gonna push them back. Poppy pops her no dash or no movement ability, but nothing happens from that.
ooh, that
Look
damage.
at the damage on Rakan. Was that a fourth proc on the Kaisa?
Yeah,
I
that
missed it
was-
a little
Yeah,
bit.
it was
Yeah.
passive.
That was all her procs there. For sure, and it was huge. I think it's... I don't play Cast in a while, but actually I think it's 5. It's like 4 show, and the 5th one actually... Is it that way? I don't remember.
I've been playing mostly support lately, but I think it's 4. But you might be right, it's 5.
I don't remember.
The only thing I know is 4 is Jhin. Obviously, we count to 4 on Jhin.
True.
But
Early invade coming up from Persona. Nighthawk might be in trouble. Oh no, look, he's gonna turn it on him. He's gonna get the Everfrost, and bot lane's gonna go in. But wow, direct to camera is really messing me up here. Nighthawk almost 1v1ing the Gnar, and Silas flashes over the wall, and that will be a kill going over to Iroh.
little aggressive on Persona. He did have the top prio, so he had the minion wave push on the top side, so it was, excuse me, a little hard for Aaron to answer. But I think there should have been a little more team communication that, like, you know, husband wife snacks is like, hey, like, there's no more Silas. Like, he should have known that Silas was coming, and he probably should have backed up a little bit more. Once again, Persona, I think being a little bit greedy.
Yeah.
Especially once the blue smite came down, I think he should have just backed off. I mean, there's really no reason for him to be there after the blue went down.
By the way, the Kaisa, it is... So what it is that you can have up to 4 stacks, but the 5th stack is the one that finishes. So
Gotcha.
we're both right.
Gotcha.
We're both right. We're just thinking these slightly different things.
I just play too much Jhin. I can only count to 4. I can't. I read at a 5th grade level. I can't count to 5. I'm sorry.
It's alright. Just wanted to make sure the viewers knew in chat, you know. Make sure they're getting the experience. Right now, Aaron Omnivamp bullying these minions. They have no chance against him. He has the wave. He has taken no damage to Persona. And Persona, you know, already with that death, and these grass stacks just don't matter.
Yeah, and Persona just struggling to last hit right now, just with the aggressiveness from Aaron, who is switching to Trundle.
Yeah, and Silas
You know,
coming off the back here with the item advantage, gonna go into the Akali, but Hecarim is here for the counter, but nothing's to be had. Hecarim's flash is burned in this exchange.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's something that I think won't really matter, but I think that Press the Attack was the better rune to take on Trundle than Conqueror, because most of the enemies, like against the Kali, Conqueror doesn't matter. Like the PTA is actually very important against her.
And Giovanni with the flash put into the mid lane, but they won't be able to find Akali because of the Shroud. Good escape out of husband-wife there.
I would say the biggest reason I hate playing against Kali is that freaking Shroud. That Shroud is so tilting, just because like she just go invisible and just get out of the worst circumstances. That
Yeah.
no matter how behind Akali is, she still always has that escape. Even in a 2v1, she's like, I'm gonna dip out. You guys have fun.
It's definitely a get out of jail free card for sure. It's a get out of jail free card. Ooh, okay.
Which, I mean, to be fair, some mid laners do have the same thing. You know, Zed always can shut out. Azir can WE out. Like, it's not like the Akali's the only one that can do that. But do I hate playing as Akali? Absolutely.
For sure. Alright, 6 minutes in. Dragon is being looked at, having a nice staring contest with the Sejuani, but it looks like they are going to go down to feast on something eventually, and it looks like Red Team is not going to have anything to say about that. They're going to let the dinner go undisturbed, as Sejuani looks to be picking it up.
Yeah, which I will say, Team Grey does not have the lead that they had last game. Obviously, it is 2-0 on the side of blue. And also, if you look at the CS lead, Trundle at 54 CS to Nars 33. Sejuani to 37. Oh, wow. Okay.
That was a nice flash there. I wasn't sure they were
I
gonna...
spoke way too soon. Now it is 3-0 on the side of blue. 2-0-1 on the Silas, who is also only 3 CS up, but he is 2-0-1. And while I was talking, I think it was like 10-15 CS up on the Kaisa, but the Xayah did come back.
Yeah.
And now it is 51-44 for the CS on the bot lane.
Yeah.
But Trundle's still had a tremendous CS lead on this Gnar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not... It's just rough, right? Like, Akali definitely is feeling the nerfs right here, and not only are you feeling the nerfs, but you basically just gave Silas a good ultimate. Oh, it's definitely going to be really rough for you and your team coming soon, because Silas is just absolutely unstoppable whenever he gets ahead earlier, and this is one of those games.
Yeah, and Darkseal on the Silas already at 2 stacks, so we'll see as the game goes on if he can stack that up. I mean, I don't blame him. 2-0-1, I would probably do the same thing. See if I can buy as much as you can. Gnar trying to use his Mega Gnar to bully the Trundle as he can. Put him into tower. Yeah. But I don't think he'll be able to come out too much. Already 20 CS down, so doing his best though. Good for Gnar for trying to, capitalize on.
Here we see Team Exiles bot lane roaming up to the mid lane. It is a 3v2 as Hecarim is here for the counter. Great ping. I saw a ping coming over from Team Grey. Anyways, here we go. Wow. Flashes over the Akali with the Hecarim fear to push Akali into his team.
So clean. So
that was so
he
clean.
Prevented the Akali from getting out by flashing on the blast cone.
Yeah. It would have been slightly cleaner if he got the flash, or if he got the ultimate and then did the E afterwards, but still definitely very good awareness that he needed to do all of that to make sure the Akali could not get out. Very good CC lock.
Yeah.
One of the things that is nice is that you were saying that Akali gets shrouded and she's out. But, someone correct me if I'm wrong, but Kai'Sa's W grants true vision of the enemy, and I think that goes through Akali's shroud.
That I have no idea, but I'm very curious. I'm gonna look at chat and see if that's true. So, are you saying the Kai'Sa W through the shroud gives vision?
Yeah,
Is that what you're saying?
her Void Seeker, and I know it works for invisible enemies, right? Like if you hit someone with if you hit Rengar ulting, if you hit Talon, I really like
Right.
picking Kai'Sa in those situations.
Yeah,
Because,
you hit them and it gives them vision, right? But
Yeah.
I'm curious if through the shroud.
yeah.
And oh my
Just
god, that
Hecarim
Hecarim
getting
got
rolled
destroyed.
in Tribush.
Blue side, or just Team Blue in general is just very upset about the first game. They're like, well, you got
Oh
5
my
bans, we
God.
lost. Well,
This Poppy is just pushing everyone into walls.
Yeah, Young Shuck's definitely showing the mastery of the character. Even, it's kind of impressive that as you're a top lane main and not a support lane, that he's like not really overcommitting. I would say, like he's doing it. Like, you can definitely play support Poppy and mess up by going in too much, right?
Oh yeah.
and I want to point out that Poppy has 5 out of 6 kill participation, yet the bot lane has only died twice. So the Poppy has 3 kill participation outside of the bot lane already at 10 minutes.
So it was like the Flash level 1 versus Kai'Sa, which was in the bot lane, right? And then it was
Right.
that Flash against the Akali that happened that we saw not too long ago, like 2 or 3, 4 minutes ago.
Under tower.
And I guess also that he helped with versus the Akali again 2 minutes later, whenever everyone made the play to Flash over the Blast Plant. But yeah, just, you know what? Their rotations are honestly looking a lot better than they were last game, but even then, they're looking way better than the enemy teams did last game. And the enemy team had such a dominating game. I think that they are just answering this one right back.
Yeah, this is very much looking like it could possibly be at least a 3-1 series. I highly doubt it'll be a 3-0, just based off how great Blue side is looking right now, Team Blue. Aaron kind of struggling against the Snar, which is a little understandable at this point in the game, just because Gnar, he's got the Sheen, he's got the Steel Boots. Actually, both of them have the Sheen and Steel Boots. So I'm actually curious how. I haven't played this top lane too much, other than I think Trundle always wins against Meganar, but as soon as Mininar, I mean, but as soon as Meganar comes out, then that's when Gnar turns and it can actually
Well, yeah, the thing
get a
is,
huge buff on Trundle.
I think that post 6, it's Trundle favored if you're not behind, and he's definitely not behind. So as soon as he hits the Sunder, I don't think that Gnar can do anything to him in top lane.
Right. I just think right now he's still winning that Sunder, and against Meganar he can't do anything. But Little Gnar, yeah, he can't do anything.
Pillar?
1v1
Ooh.
the top lane pillar, but Gnar has flash. But he was on the good side of the pillar, right? I don't think he needed to flash.
He couldn't. I think it stopped him from going the other way. But either way, it knocked him towards
He's
Trundle.
safe, but yeah, Trundle can't beat the Meganar at this point until he gets that Sunder. And
Gnar? I mean, not Gnar, sorry. Rakan gonna try to R out, but this doesn't work. Young Shack's on his tail, and here they are going onto the Xayah, who kind of greeted for farm. Xayah's gonna ult, potentially get away. Persona is getting ganked. Sedge hits the R. Nice pillar from Trundle, and Gnar will fall.
Yeah, they are using their flashes very effectively, securing these kills, and they do not have a single death yet. It is 13 minutes in. They are 8-0, 2 dragons. This is definitely a response to the last game.
guys, this is the exact opposite of last game. Because we know last game, Gray was up probably most of the game when they shouldn't have. They should have been losing just because they were playing safe lanes, they were playing tanks. Like, they really should have been ahead, yet they did. They had really good plays. Yet right now, Blue is doing everything they can. Like right now,
They're literally just a 3-man dive the Hecarim under a tower. Hecarim thought he got away with his ult under his own tower, but no. Here comes a colleague coming in with a flash. Maybe gonna R the Silas if she is in range. No, she will not. But wow, that is crazy.
R2 is going to come out soon. Okay, she is going to just back off. Yep. And definitely overextension right there. They are going to pick up their first kill right there. Not a huge death, right? It was none of the big shutdowns. But still, that is going to give them a little bit of momentum back into this game.
yeah, and it's kind of funny because Team Blue is using the picks from last game against Team Gray. They're using that Trundle, they're using that Sejuani to bully the other team. And honestly, the Poppy pick, we all weren't sure what this would happen. Obviously, Poppy trying to hold tower, but that's okay.
Yep.
They've done so much with the Poppy so far this game that I am so far loving the pick. But like, they're using their strategy against them. They're trying to play somewhat front to back, and then also a little bit of dive, and then Iroh just stealing the scuttle.
Yeah.
A little bit of BM, but
I'm curious to see the way this Kai'Sa's going to play now we get to the mid to late game. This comp is one that you definitely want to let your team front to back for you as much as possible, but a lot of Kai'Sas make the mistake of diving in, even when you have a front to back team comp. So they might just be so ahead that it doesn't matter, but I am interested.
Yeah, I mean, it's 9-1. They have a 6K gold lead. They have 2 dragons, and they're up a tower. It's a huge lead for Team Blue. So
It's not even like...
Or, I guess for the side of Gray, there's nowhere to go up but up.
It's not even...
They're at bottom. They have to come up.
It's not even like last game, right? Where they had the MF, and that was like their only damage. So if they got rid of MF, they could at least like win a team fight. They have Sylas and Kai'Sa. So it's going to be very difficult to get picks on both of these characters in a fight.
Yeah, because TF was not really a hyper carry. He's more of a catch your team out, use a gold card, throw a bit of damage. Now it's a Sylas. So you're right, like, Sylas can surprise a team with damage and also really hold his own because, he does have, the Omni Vamp and the lifesteal that he can survive in a fight a little bit longer than some, hyper carry mids.
Right. Kai'Sa still has not gotten back to finish her Q Evolve, by the way. She is still waiting on that serrated Dirk. So I do hope that she does back soon for it. I think she has the money for it. Yeah, she does.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to take this mid turret. I think they're trying to wait out for the drag at this point. I will say Team Blue will have the Vision prio or mid. And they got their mid prio. They're taking out this pink on the riverside. So they'll have the Vision prio for now. We'll see if that holds out for when the dragon comes up, which it does. They might just take this dragon. It's first dragon for them, so I think Team Gray's is okay with losing it. It's the first dragon. They're okay with just taking top turret.
Yeah, I guess I don't hate this if I'm their team. I don't really like it that much, but I don't hate it. The fact that you got the top tower and the rift makes it somewhat justifiable because now you're threatening, hey, if you ever leave us for a moment, we could just take the tower. But that said, the rift is on Sejuani instead of being on Trundle, so it's going to be a lot harder to coordinate, They can still like do a 4-1 and have Trundle be split pushing top lane while the 4 of them siege. Or actually, it probably should be the opposite way around. If the 4 of them siege top lane with the rift, they're very likely to take it, right? And then Trundle just going bot lane just to create pressure elsewhere. I think they'll have a really good time being able to take it like 2 towers and maybe an inhib.
So I'm just reading chat here, and yeah, Mage and Mark have a really good,
They're having quite the technical discussion.
Yeah, quite the back and back, but yeah, it's hard to dash into this team right now just because Sejuani, the Trundle, the Poppy, you can't dash in that. I will say the Poppy was a really, really good answer in the Rakan. I mean, yes, in laning phase, but especially in team fights. Because Rakan's only mission as a mid to late game support is to dash in the team. I think it's I forget what his ultimate does. It's more
it
of like
either
a
knocks
taunt or
people
stun.
back. It either knocks people back, or if you hold it for long enough, it'll knock everyone back in a line very far.
Right.
Or it'll just knock.
Right, but if he can't dash in, then he can't use his ultimate.
Oh, you're talking about Rakan
right?
ultimate?
Yeah, Rakan.
Rakan ultimate is the charm.
The charm, right? Exactly. So if he can't jump in, if he can't, if Poppy blocks him from getting into the team, and he can't use his ultimate. Because, chat, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think he's unstoppable in his ultimate.
No, he's not unstoppable. It's literally just like if Poppy presses his anti-dive zone, the only character that can get across that on their team is Hecarim.
Is Hecarim, right.
Yeah.
So, Poppy was a good pick. I mean, Rakan kind of can't get to the carries.
Yeah, I think that
Akali, if Poppy, I will say it's harder for the Poppy to, I guess, throw the E for the Akali, like, dive, but especially for the Rakan, just kind of countering that for late game team fights.
I think that the problem really is that the enemy team kind of counterpicked themselves by picking the Akali and also picking the Gnar, right? You can't pick these two characters that are like, hey, we want a team fight, and neither of them have an answer to Poppy. Like, Hecarim is the only one who has an unstoppable. So, like, you have two options. Either you pick enough unstoppables that the Poppy doesn't matter, right?
Right.
And if we're just talking about team fights, because obviously you can outsplit the Poppy, but that's besides the point. You can do that, or you can just pick a team that doesn't have to engage, right? You just play back, play front to back, and force the enemy team. You either outpoke them, or you just group around dragons, but you get there first, and then the enemy team has to walk up into you, and then
which they did get to dragon first for the last one that they got. But other than that, they have zero poke on the side of.
And that's the thing, right? Like Hecarim, Rakan can kind of play front to back, but Hecarim can't really play front to back. He has to go in, right? And Gnar
Who else can go in?
Gnar is also heavily incentivized to go in, right? Like, these characters don't want to just be sitting in the backline forever, because Gnar is fine if he's in mini sitting in the backline, but in team fights you almost never want to be mini, really, right? So it's
But
it's just rough.
when they go in, then they have to deal with Carnu Pillar, Sejuani stuns, and ult. And even Silas, his chains stun for a few seconds. Like, there's so much CC on the side of Team Blue that they have to deal with just to get to that backline Kai'Sa.
Yeah.
Who, at a split second, can get back into your backline with one W or whoever she hits.
Man, a fight breaks out over the dragon, and Hecarim does fall. Zaya gets a nice route onto Shax, but it doesn't matter. Akali dashes through Shax, and Shax falls. Silas flashes onto the Zaya. Zaya ults to get away, but there's just so much damage coming over from Team Exiles. Wow, they clean the floor.
How do you feel about this Team Blue? They lost in the first game. It wasn't that close. They kind of lost pretty hard to Team Gray.
Oh, it looks like they're actually going to go for the end.
They had a really good draft. But how do you feel about this Team Blue now?
So, how I feel is that they... Game 1, you're right, it wasn't really all that close. So, they came in Game 2 with just absolute blood in their eyes. And you can see it from Shax, going for every single play that he sees.
Yeah.
And it's working. Look at the scoreline. 14-2 was at almost 11k gold lead. Massive.
I mean, Shaq's play, I mean, I can't talk about comms, but literally his play has literally carried this game so far. He got them the lead. And he got them almost all the lead, pretty much. Besides, I think the first kill to Akali, everything else is pretty much Shaq's made some sort of run for it. And that's kind of insane.
Okay, so I have to ask. Oh, never mind. Third. Okay. So while everyone's recalling, MVP for both games. So hypothetically, it doesn't matter who wins, Gray or Blue. Of the two games, who do you think is the best player on each side at this moment?
I think undeniably, I've already kind of said it. Like, Young Shax has been doing the carrying on the side of Blue, and on the enemy team, well, I do think that Misfortune played very, very well the other game, right? Like, Hottest Cashier definitely did a lot of work.
For me, I'd say between two of the games, Iroh has been doing overall the most, although Shax has smurfed for this game. And I'd say hottest cashier has done the best for his team.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. Ira's been doing really, really well. He did really well on the Kai side, and he's doing really well on the Silas as well. Um,
I said he was doing well as he dashed over the Baron to sacrifice his life.
yeah, he did it for the team. He did it
Yeah.
for the team. He was an honorable soldier. We salute him. I did
Yeah.
this for the Baron.
I do agree.
That was also his first death of the game, so
Yeah.
we'll give it to him for that.
I do agree that Young Shax probably committed too much game number 1, especially early on, which led to a part of the snowball issue that happened. So there is that to definitely say.
Right. Yeah, I would say Persona's doing as much as he can on this Gnar, but it's just hard with the team comp on Team Blue, because he has to give basically a perfect Gnar ult to even do anything against their team comp.
Maybe they
So,
just didn't know about the Poppy support, but I don't know.
oh,
Either
I'm
way,
sure they had no idea.
Again, another
I mean, I
Poppy
can
play
look at the
just stacking their
stats,
con to
but
the wall.
does Young Checks? Oh my god.
Young Shax is notorious for being a Poppy one-trick top lane. And, you know, you take it support, you really shut down a lot of these tank engage supports.
yeah, it's okay. A little bit of a comeback going on right now.
Yeah, lots of fighting happening on the map for these towers as Team Exiles has a Baron buff and they want to really
He
just
started
close
trying
out the
his
game
best to
here.
hit Mega Gnar. He was at the bar, but not able to do it.
Maybe Silas or maybe Ira with a nice play
Oh, and he
here onto
lands the
the Akali.
Everfrost.
Akali is hidden, but will she get out? Oh, she is Zonya's, but she will not get out of this alive, unfortunately.
Yep, and that's gonna be the second tower, and Inhib probably gone right there from mid, if they're not the entire game.
They're looking like the entire game. Gold Gray will try to hold on with a nice two-man Recon ulti, but wow, Zaya just gets eliminated
Yeah,
from the map.
and
And yeah,
Trundle
that is
does
game
not.
2.
Trundle does not care.
So, JR, obviously, IAmWay, we both suck at predicting bot lane matchups. So, I will leave the bot lane matchup to you for this next game.
Okay.
Okay.
Because obviously we were both wrong on who would win.
Yeah, absolutely great stuff. We're gonna go ahead and look at the stats for a little bit before we're gonna have a little intermission after this. So,
Yeah, a little intermission.
I think that we're gonna be bringing on Duckmark to the cast.
Right.
So look forward to that. But great job already so far, as we've talked about. They did not respect the Poppy that game, and the Poppy did wonders in the early game and in the middle late game. Just made it impossible for them to kind of play the game. But that was definitely insane. But we are gonna be back very soon after the short intermission.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our exciting series between Gold Gray and Gold Blue. Sorry, pardon me. Somehow we have GFs and Team Exiles. Currently, the scoreline is 1-1, and we had a little bit of a switch up. So I'm welcoming here Duckmark. Welcome to the cast.
Hi.
Woo!
And, joined by me and Duckmark is Wei, as he was color casting the past 2 games.
Hey, let's go. You know what it means. I had the glasses on. I'm doing the color casting, baby.
But yeah, exciting games. It was a stomp for Gray game 1 and then a stomp for Blue game 2. I don't really know where this series is gonna go. It's seeming like Sejuani and Trundle are like the power picks for this series because game 1, Team Gray had the Sejuani Trundle and they won, and then game 2, Gold Blue had Sejuani Trundle and they won.
Yeah, I think it's the Trundle. I watched both games, but I think it's the Trundle is the biggest difference for me. I don't know. He's such a simple yet oppressive champion that there's nothing you can do. He's just gonna run at you. He's just gonna slow you. There's absolutely nothing you can do. You just have to deal with it.
Yeah, just being an absolute menace with that split push. You saw quite a few times in both games where like a fight will be going on, and then the Trundle just takes half of your base.
Yeah.
That is how it is.
Trundle, not what I expected. If I didn't know these players, I would not have thought, oh yeah, this is the first pick or ban. This is pick or ban right here. Is Trundle right here. It's just insane. But this game it is. Both top laners definitely knowing their Graves and their Trundles top. So we'll see if we can get some Graves love because I do think that Trundle might be banned.
Yeah, I totally agree. I can see the Trundle being banned just because of how prominent it has been in the past 3 games.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we are just now, I think, gonna go ahead and switch over to the draft. We'll be starting, should be shortly if they have not made any mistakes.
Exile's ready. Ready.
Yeah, Exiles are ready in the draft. We're just waiting for somehow we have GFs to ready in the draft, and we will go on ahead.
Right.
Little side note for the viewers: before Primus left, he made a small bet with me, 3 gifted subs. He thinks, somehow we have GFs will win. I put 3 gifted subs on Team Exiles. So, not only am I like emotionally invested in Team Exiles, I have monetary stakes on Team Exiles now.
Yeah, it's over. He started putting money on it. It's over.
So coming up with the draft, Team Exiles sticking with the same ban, they cast it in first ban. I can imagine we're gonna see what was it last time? Nocturne and I forget the third ban. But yeah,
Xin Zhao.
There we go. Yeah, so just the 2 early game junglers and Cassidon. From somehow we have GFs that banned the Ezreal like last time. They banned the Poppy because they don't want to see that on the map ever again after last game.
Yeah, I did say like they did not respect the Poppy, and you have to think a lot about like how it's going to affect your whole team comp, right? Like you have to make drastic changes whenever there's a Poppy. Like certain champions are involved, and Poppy's one of them. So if you're like we just don't have the champion pool or like the comps practice for this sort of thing, just get rid of it, right?
There it is. There's the Trundle.
There is the Trundle, and I wonder if they're going to be looking for the Sejuani too. Or will Exiles take it away?
I can't imagine Exiles go for Sejuani because Trundle is like the counter for Sejuani. So it's like so counterproductive if they pick Sejuani, which is why I think they're going for the Morgana, flex pick, jungle, support.
Yeah.
You don't know where it's going to go yet.
Is Persona some kind of god Kale player? Because I'm not understanding why Kale's getting banned.
It's for the mid player.
Oh,
it's for okay.
It's for okay.
It's for Iru on Team Exiles.
Okay.
I think both mid players have picked up a Kale upon joining the league. Yeah, Arrow picked Kale mid last season, and this season I think Snacks also picked up Kale. What did I tell you? The Graves versus Trundle top. Aaron heard me and he said he wanted it to happen. I told you these two guys have been playing non-stop Trundle and Graves.
Oh, this Graves going top. Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
I have not seen Graves top actually.
It could be a flex, but I am almost entirely certain
It's probably
on
a
these
flex.
two top lanes, it's going to be top lane.
Both of these champions could actually be flexes, Morgana and Graves. So
And before we see Graves ADC, the hidden tech, Graves Morgana bot lane. Rise and said you want to be picked up. So yep, the power duo. Trundle said you want to be picked up once again, and then rounding out for the Rise. Interesting pick.
Yeah, it gives them some late game. So last time they went for this exact comp, they had a TF mid, and I think TF mid would get smoked quite literally by Graves and just get destroyed. But Rise does a little bit more damage, a little more battle mage. She does have to get close to Graves though, so that's not wonderful either. But it kind of performs the same purpose, just with more damage. And I did say they were lacking damage last time around.
Rise is a really he's sleeper strong. People don't really think about it because not everyone knows how to play him very well. He's actually a hard champion to play because you gotta click your abilities in a very specific order at a very specific speed, and if you don't do that, you're dead. Essentially, you kind of have two choices. You either use your abilities to snare them and to root them, or you use it for more damage. And if you use it for more damage, if you miss the Q, there goes all your damage. So I've seen Husband play Rise, and he's a very good Rise. So if he can make it work, Rise is one of the highest DPS mages there is in the game.
Absolutely, hands down. Definitely one of the strongest DPS mages. It's just a matter of getting past that point. And it's kind of similar to TF. It's very similar to TF actually, in that both characters are pretty weak early game. But once you have reached this certain point, and it's kind of hard to determine when exactly that is, because Rise can be like taking, jungle camps. He can be taking a lot of farm and just scaling really fast. TF, I think his point that comes is a little later, where his damage kicks in, but he's able to help side lanes better out earlier. And they're both just like very, very sleeper OP in that way.
Twisted Fate's damage comes from his items that allow him to empower his different cards, his gold card, his red card, and stuff. Rise's power comes from his mana scaling.
Yeah.
And all that. So there's different power spikes, but Varus, and I'm curious to see Gray's or GF's bot lane.
Kiana's actually open, but it doesn't matter because they picked Rise up in the first phase, right? No, they picked Galio up. Sorry.
They picked Galio, yeah.
I don't really like the Sejuani pick here because Sejuani does not do very well into Morgana and Graves, as my first initial thought. Actually, Graves just kind of does whatever he wants this game if he gets ahead, and it's a good lane for him too. Galio is also a very amazing pick here, I think, R3, because we don't necessarily know if it's where the Galio is, but it gives them front line, and they've already shown they're having an ADC, either jungle or top, and a Morgana, who's not very frontliney. Yeah, she has CC, but she's, very weak. So having Galio frontline helps a lot when you're playing with dual marksmen, right? It
looks like Morgana's going jungle. I'm fairly sure. Morgana's a really good pick into Sejuani because Sejuani can never walk into Morgana's jungle when she's there. There's nothing she's gonna be able to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are gonna go ahead and get underway. Let me go and close out predictions if you guys haven't done that already, and then make new ones.
Or I forgot to.
Oh well.
It's all good. We're still on time, The next game hasn't started yet.
I predict a draw. Is that possible?
A draw.
That has to be possible.
No,
that has to have happened before in
league?
history. In league history, it has to.
I mean, the servers went down, and then the game was refunded. Maybe.
No. Like a draw. Like the game. Like both Nexuses are destroyed at the exact same time. That has to have happened at some point. Or at least people have someone has to have tried it in a custom game.
Beats me. I have no idea, but
yeah, I have to check that out. That sounds pretty sick if both Nexus go off at the same time. Well, what does a camera do? And he's got a split screen,
I don't know.
and you see
I
both
don't know.
Nexuses blow up.
I don't know.
Wow. I'm just trying to soak in the drafts from both sides. Seems like Exiles excel at skirmishes just because of like their individual dueling and pick potential, whereas Gray just wants to, team fight in small corridors because of the Rise spread and the Misfortune ulti.
Yeah, I mean, I think you definitely nailed it. Skirmishes are going to be really great for Exiles. They have better poke, slightly with Avaris, right? And overall, I think that they have a they have a weaker front line. It's just Galio and Thresh for the most part. But I think that the way their damage pans out, it's going to end up being better for them. They are able to get picks so nicely. They have Varus Thresh, which is already a strong pick lane, right? Graves entirely for the damage, Morgana for more pick potential, and then Galileo just to turn any fight into like a for sure we win this fight, right? Like we got the pick, Galileo ults on top, and we're out. We've obtained what we wanted to get. If somehow we have JFs gets the drop on Exiles without Morgana getting the Black Shield up or without Galio ult being ready, then I could see it being problematic for them. If they were able to pick Graves, if they were able to pick Varus, or Morgana before she was get the Black Shields up, yeah, it could definitely be a problem for them. But I think mid-game, Exiles kind of just has this game in the bag so long as they haven't dropped a huge lead.
I'm going for Gray. I think Gray is probably going to take this.
They do have the Trundle, and so far Trundle has a 100% pick rate and 100% win rate. So
right. I think it's because this Varus is probably going lethality, right? That's the build that you go right now. I'm pretty sure. I don't think he goes attack speed. And they have 1, 2, 3 tanks. Trundle being, I guess, a pseudo tank on Gray's side, and lethality does not do very well against armor because it's flat penetration. And then Rise could also build a frozen heart if he really wanted to.
That's pretty true. That
late game, I don't think, unless Varus gets ahead early, I don't think he's going to be doing a lot of damage to anyone besides Rise or Misfortune.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, Morgana is going to be doing a lot of damage, I think, for
Right.
sure.
Morgana's going to be doing a lot of damage, and so should Graves.
Graves also, because what the build is usually like half lethality, half like at one point he builds Infinity Edge, and then it's kind of pretty much over.
Right, half lethality, half crit. Hit as hard as you can.
The Varus, I definitely see could fall off pretty early depending on what build he goes. In fact, this game, the enemy team doesn't have a lot of range, so he could even, I doubt it, but he could even go the like the Hurricane on hit build or whatever the Gwen is.
Yeah, the attack speed.
I don't see him doing the lethal tempo build.
I don't see him doing it because that's not the build right now, but it wouldn't be a bad build into that team.
Yeah.
Because you would probably want to be hitting Sejuani.
Yeah, I think he's possible. Probably gonna go lethality. I mean, he'll still do damage if he gets stacks off, just with his passive damage or whatever. It's not as great as it used to be, but I think it'll still do quite a bit. But yeah, they are gonna be mostly relying on the Morgana Grace for damage output, which is a weakness of their comp.
Right. Yeah, I think it's gonna be up to most, unless the Grace can get ahead top by himself. I think he's gonna be up to mostly the Morgana to be doing a bulk of the magic damage, especially. And then, assuming she goes Leandri's, which I'm very sure she will, into that team, she'll likely be doing a lot of damage, and Morgana can do a lot of sleeper damage when she just puts a pull under you and you're not really noticing what's hurting you.
Yeah,
you're like, oh, I'm half health.
And like half the enemy team can't even really help it, right? Like Nautilus and Sejuani are rather immobile. Trundle, not as much, but they're rather immobile once the fight has started. So it's just they're going to be standing on top of something, and it's going to be a black pool for sure.
I think the biggest strong point in Gray's team is the MF, as usual. I think that was their strongest point in the first game. I think I'm correct.
The thing is it's kind of The weakness in the other game was that they could just dive on top of it, but that
Right.
was mitigated by them getting such a huge lead and making that one misplay in the mid game. This game, they don't really have a dive, so they don't have to like dive into it, and they don't really have to group up a whole lot, right? Like they're gonna group for like dragons and stuff, and that will be really big for Misfortune to like get her ultimate where she wants to get him in, and it's gonna be hard
Right.
for the enemy to walk up into that. But Galio can just ult in. He is one of their only front lines, so it might be a little hard. Graves is kind of tanky, but he can kind of flank, and Morgana as well. She doesn't care too much. She's probably just gonna like look to Zanya's it when she can and Black Shield the CC. But yeah, we'll have to see exactly what the power level of this Misfortune is gonna be. I think that if played correctly, it won't be too bad. But there's just gonna be times where they're gonna find, that Sejuani ult and that MF ult on top of it's gonna be huge.
Mm-hmm. Did the game loading screen start? No, it hasn't. Okay.
No,
No.
a little bit of time. We're,
Sorry.
yeah,
go ahead.
we're just chilling. We're just chilling. You know,
How were the other two games?
the other two games were just like both teams
Sweeps both ways.
found the snowball and rode that straight to the victory. In either direction. Like I said, Trundle Sejuani has a 100% pick and 100% win rate on the side it's been played. So we'll see if Exiles has wisened up to the strengths and weaknesses of the character and see if they can find something to play around it. I think that they've done a good job so far by picking up Graves and Morgana. I mean, Graves is just... You were talking about how Ryze is sleeper OP, but let me tell you that if people don't know, then Graves is sleeper OP. Like,
Oh yeah, definitely.
his armor magic resist is insane that he gets passively, and just his straight up damage output right now in top lane is crazy. Like as jungle, he's actually like 48% win rate, right? Nothing strange.
Right.
That's the way he's been. But top lane, nothing, almost literally nothing has changed in the past 5 patches except exposure. And after, I think it was LS who started playing Graves top. I don't remember who, but somebody started popularizing Graves top strengths. And then you look at his win rates, and it is insane right now. He has such a good matchup spread that you cannot contest him early mid game, and he's so safe and he's so strong. The only thing he lacks is CC, or so I've been told. But then again, I play against people and they tell me that smokescreen should be taken out of the game because
it's actually, I think his blind is more, or his nearsighted, I guess, is more annoying than Quinn's. Way more, and infinitely more.
I mean,
because,
it's AOE.
Right, but it's also the fact that I'm pretty sure anyone has had those times where they're like trying to kill a Graves, or they're trying to attack a Graves, and their mouse is right over them, and they go to click on them, but the second they do that, they get smoke screen and it cancels, and they're just franticing, and they're like, it's so annoying. Like it's as annoying as like running into a Shaco box or killing the wrong Shaco clone or running into a team where like it's that level of annoying.
So yeah, we're loaded onto the rift now. We see both teams stacking the opposite sides of the jungle, so they won't be meeting each other. Looks like we might get a vertical jungle. Most likely we'll get a vertical jungle if either team recognizes that the other invaded their buff. Something else I'd like to point out, I noticed that Todak for the first 2 games took Exhaust, but for this game he has Ignite. So maybe we have a more exciting bot lane 2v2 this time around?
Yeah, probably recognizing that Varus and Thresh having good engage, but Varus not nearly as threatening as like a Tristana that they went the first game, that can just jump in, burst you at level 3 and just jump out. So thinking that I can just take Ignite here and I don't need to exhaust anyone on the enemy team.
Wow, so Team Exiles warded the red, but opted not to take it, whereas GFs warded the enemy red and took it. So it'll be interesting to see what Nighthawk does here.
Yep, we're starting with that, taking 2 camps. Okay, wait a second.
Here comes an early gank from Sejuani, forcing the flash out of Graves, and wow, just free flash just like that. But hopefully, now with that info, Morgana will rotate over to the enemy's red, which you see him walking over through the river right now.
Yeah, I think
Yep, there's the ping.
it's gonna be hard for Sejuani to answer this. I mean, you did get the flash out top lane, which is nice, and I think that Omnivamp has to be a little careful right in the near future because he doesn't know if Sejuani is still like gonna repeat gank him or anything. But if he has good wave management, he should be fine.
See some banter in all chat.
Is that the Thresh skin that people are like mad about?
Oh, here comes the wow. They knew that Morgana was walking for the red, so they just collapsed on her. And there she goes. She now is 1 buff star, and Sedge has 3 buffs. Or will have 3 buffs.
Yeah, that's a really great collapse on them by Team Gray. Like, Team Blue did not get the prio that was needed for Morgana to do that.
I think she assumed that they just didn't have they really didn't have that much vision. Right? Did they have a ward on the red?
I believe they did actually. They had
did,
like
okay.
the bottom bush warded of the red.
Okay, I thought they just like assumed that she was gonna go, and they were like, "All right, let's go. She has to be there."
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the red trinket didn't catch it or whatever. But yeah, that was a good play by them. But I still think that regardless, to make that play safe, you having that prio in mid and bot will help you so much in the situation. It looks like Graves took a early cheater recall, and he'll be heading back to lane. A little level down right now, but he'll catch it up in some time. Varus is really low on mana.
Yeah, he has a lot of, and MF has blue buff from the Morgana kill, so she's gonna have plenty of mana, and Varus has nothing.
Yeah, definitely very rough for Exiles this time around. Looks like Sejuani Trundle trying to keep that 100% win rate. Oh.
Nice little invade coming in from GS, getting some vision. Not seeing the Morgana though.
Yeah. I mean, I love it, right? You get the prio on your side, and you don't know if you're strong enough to push up, but you know you have prio mid lane, you just go for that vision.
I mean, I think they probably could have pushed the wave a little bit more.
Oh, nice little hook, nice flay from Thresh. The ignite goes down to the Nautilus, but Nautilus is gonna walk away. Oh, another nice hook from Shax, landing onto the MF. They're actually gonna slow. Nautilus gonna hook the Thresh. Flash is going both ways. MF will fall to the Thresh, and looks like a 2-0. Nope. Never mind, there's a flash from Nautilus. Nice snipe from Varus to make it a clean 2-0. Wow.
Yes, that
was so much damage.
That was the max damage empowered WQ right there. And
Right.
That's just ridiculous. You do not expect that damage until it's too late, pretty much. One of the things is that it's kind of hard to tell when Varus is going to empowered Q you, right? Like, there's not a very telling visual Q.
Yeah, it's not. There's no animation for. There's a very like slight. I think like it changes color, or his bow changes color, but like you can't really notice it in the heat of the moment.
Yeah, especially if he's not even on your screen. Like, he just cues you from out of vision. Like, you just have no idea.
Right. By the way, that's a lethal tempo Varus. Did we mention that? I think. So he might go attack speed. So he is going attack speed. He's not going lethality this game.
I think that lethal tempo is like very strong, but only if you like have a lot of coordination to pull it off. It's kind of like very difficult to pull off. So I'm excited to see it though. Looks like the other team right now we're looking at Gray is looking to group for this dragon, and I don't think that Team Exiles wants to do anything about it right now.
Gray's being pretty oppressive so far. There it is.
They're trying to collapse into the Galio, but Galio able to just walk away. Never mind, here's a Realm War coming up from Rise. Gonna cut off the Galio. They're all walking the wrong way, and Galio gets out. Morgana also is gonna black shield herself and walk away.
Wow.
Wow, so they Realm Warped, but then just let him walk away?
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of a mistake for the Nautilus to take the Realm Warp right there, and they could have actually pincered him
But the Sejuani was right across the wall. I don't think he had vision of the Galio to see where he was going. I think they thought he was still running towards them.
Yeah, it's hard to say, but the Galio does make a smart play and gets out of that one, and good thing he does, trying to keep the gold in his team's favor. Right now, the bot lane is the only lane with a significant lead. Actually, Graves is doing very well top lane, and mid lane has a significant CS advantage right now, I think, for this early in the game. Remember that Graves got ganked early game, but it seems like he's made that all up now. He actually opted for the Executioners to combat the Trundle passive. I don't think it really does that much against Trundle passive, though.
It's for the grasp. It's for the grasp.
Oh, grasp. I see.
Trundle heals a lot, especially if you push a wave, like a big wave under his tower. He'll heal to half just from that wave. It's ridiculous. So the Executioners is a must.
I see. I think it's kind of hard though for Trundle to hit grasp in this.
Nice little hook here from Nautilus, getting the hook auto onto Thresh, but Thresh able to walk away even though he gets half of his health gone, and there goes a nice little skirmish back and forth.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's kind of this is the first game we haven't seen a huge snowball by this point already. Honestly, it's 8 minutes in and it's relatively tame. Only a 1k gold lead to red side, and most of that is off of CS.
I think Gray knows that they have to wait it out a little bit because Graves is really good in lane. Varus and Thresh have really good pick potential. Now that he's going to attack speed Varus, they can't just build armor and be safe. So they kind of have to wait for Ryze to scale. They need to wait for MF to get into those teamfight souls. They're just waiting for the right moment to actually start engaging.
And they do have to play very careful against a pick comp that is literally the strength of their comp is picking, and they have to always be watchful for whenever Morgana lands a Q or Thresh or Varus land one of their CC abilities, it can just be over for the rest of the team fight.
Yeah, I can't wait to see a Morgana Q into a Varus ult.
Yeah, Ryze does like no damage right now to the Galio.
Trundle getting caught out on the enemy team's jungle. Nice Q from Morgana, nice Q from Thresh. Thresh uses the ult to slow him even further. Galio gonna walk in and just take the kill with his taunt, make sure that Trundle goes nowhere.
Yep, very nice cleanup by them, and Trundle, for the first time, not doing so well in lane. Already down 2 platings, even with the help with the Sejuani. I mean, they have definitely... I think I said this after game 1, where it's like, you didn't really punish with Aatrox, which is fine, because Aatrox is supposed to team fight, and it was over before he could team fight.
Nice little flash R from Varus, gonna land it, but wow, here comes Sejuani for the counter, and Varus just falls for his over-aggression. Nautilus, on the other hand, hits a Q on Thresh. Thresh, nice play. Raz one warps behind them. Thresh flashes away. Nautilus R comes through. Ice Flash comes out, and wow, it looks like Thresh will eventually fall to the Sejuani.
Yeah, not sure if that's where they wanted the kill to go, but regardless, they were hunting and they have found what they came there for. Yeah, and that fight beforehand with the Varus, it was so close, actually. I think if that Varus hadn't missed an auto attack and he did W and power, if he didn't power Q right then and there, he might have killed with one more auto after that.
Galio might be in trouble here on the enemy team's jungle. Gray is cutting them off. Galio also Morgana. Wow.
Yeah,
he's gone.
He was actually kind of already out, but he didn't know. He did the ult to be safe. That is unfortunate, though, because that will reduce his map presence, and Ocean Drag is coming up, and this will be the only Ocean Drag that we're going to see this game, so... definitely a little rough. If they had gotten that Rift Herald, I definitely do like the attempt, because they would have been able to take top tower immediately and get a significant gold advantage and be in a great position for this dragon, but now the reverse is true for them.
You see Shax and Care Bear is meeting each other in the river, fighting for vision.
Ooh.
Galio gets a nice taunt onto Ryze, and that'll be it for Ryze as well. Just taunt into more Q, and he's gone.
I mean, the Chicken Galio did his work. He did the taunt, he did the dance, and Ryze just out of position for that pick, and now they are in time to take another plating top lane and also go for that Ocean Dragon.
Yeah, so Team Exiles just looking to burn this drag, and Care Bear walking up, trying to get some damage in. Here comes Galio. Gets stunned up, not able to taunt, but it doesn't matter. Cashier falls. Nautilus accidentally hits a Q onto the wall. Exiles gets to the dragon, but wow. Kodak gets a trade onto the Thresh with just his ult.
Oh, he out.
So
Yeah.
continuing here, Ryze gets a root onto Morgana. Nautilus gets taunted. Ryze doing damage to the backline. Nautilus looks like he's gonna fall to Morgana. Flashes out of the Ryze ability.
They have to be both sides have to be so careful right now. Ooh.
A lot of low HP bars after that dragon, just causing for a lot of action both ways.
Yep. And top lane, we are seeing what happens when you decide to just pick a lane that bullies the Trundle. The Trundle just does not get anything done. He's down platings. He didn't get rift in his lane. Gold advantage is already almost 1,000 for the Graves, but I'm sure that unless something happens majorly, it's probably going to stay this way at least until the Trundle gets sundered.
Here comes a TP out from Aaron. Oh no, sorry, that's Iroh, pardon me. Trundle is gonna get flash on, and wow, the Everfrost ends up taking the kill.
Ooh. They're going to have to be careful about continuing this fight as Morgana does appear to show up. And yep, they're going to get that scuttle, and Sejuani is going to have to walk away from that one. I feel like she's getting a little too close for comfort for some of these fights. Like sometimes, you just got to let him go. Like the dog's dead. You got to move on and let it go. Get a new pet. And she is going to be able to take her blue buff, luckily, and probably clear out some of this wards. But yeah, her entire bot side camps are up, and she once had a pretty big lead on Morgana, which is not really to be expected. But yeah, now the lead has definitely been gapped. 2 kills and the same amount of assists that Morgana has, but already getting 10 CS and more above that. Morgana's in a really good spot now.
Yeah, she's gonna start to do damage. She's almost at a Leandri's, probably in a few hundred gold. So she hasn't even hit her spike yet.
Yep. First few Mythics have been picked up for the side of, for the side of Exiles. Nothing.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna
Both
say
must be
nothing
nice.
too, nothing too weird, honestly, from their side. Everything's kind of as expected. Maybe not always you would expect to see Everfrost and Galio, but yeah, with the lethal tempo
Right.
Varus, you get the Kraken Slayer. So
I haven't seen Lethal. Does he go Rage Blade now? Still?
I think I have not seen this build in so long because you almost only ever see it in professional play, or
Right.
that's pretty much it. You'll like never see it in solo queue. So I think that it's like Kraken, PD, Runet's Hurricane, Gwinsu's. I think you choose 2 of those, but not 3. I'm not sure, but it's something like that. We'll see what he decides to opt for. I know PD is a pretty cheap choice that does a lot of work.
So do you want immediately regretting her decision?
Okay,
Okay.
here we go. Yet again, the Galio just showing that presence with the R and forcing the Sejuani to walk away, and Rise with the Realm Warp. Wow, massive taunt from Galio. Clean up. The people just getting melted on the side of somehow we have GFs.
And they're not done yet. Varus ultimate lands. MF counter ult landing. Mercurial Mars going down low. MF with the flash, and the Ignite will take that one away. Ignite as well going to take Nautilus, and I think MF is going to have the move speed. She's going to have the boots, and she will be able to pick up the double kill onto the bot lane.
That's actually really needed for GFs because top side isn't going too well. So probably happy they can get something bot side. Maybe the MF could get some monster ultimates later in these team fights to make up for the difference.
It looks like the Varus is going to be looking for PD second item. I wouldn't have minded Hurricane either because a lot of the front line is all just like in your face and you're going to get those procs off anyways. But you really can't go wrong with PD if you don't know, just because of the raw stats it gives for how cheap it is.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes
And
sense.
for the passive.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. My game lagged again. What game time are you guys at? It seems like I was behind for a bit of the time there.
We're 17.
I'm
17:05.
Okay.
You could
okay,
just
I'm good.
drag it all the way to the end.
Yeah, I was on my screen something was happening, and then your screen something else was happening. It's like, oh.
Yeah, you can just fast forward, and then you'll catch up usually. So. Okay. TP is being used. A little pick here happened onto the Graves, and did I say little? I actually meant a lot. Morgana's gonna bop the ult for it, and the Everfrost did connect as well, forcing that one. Meanwhile,
I was gonna go ahead, and the Varus is gonna fall. That's a
Ooh.
double kill going over to Cashier, and wow, that is a 6-2 MF now after that play.
Yeah, I mean, MF got that Kraken, and she's a whole new breed of ADC now. Did not get the start that she got in game 1, but she's certainly making it work now that she has the Kraken Slayer.
Yeah, she's starting to get a little too scary, and I don't think Varus's damage, at least yet, can keep up with MF's burst.
Yeah, it's really, that is, like you said, it's a strong point of their comp, is that nothing really deals great with the MF unless they get a pick on her. And they have enough front line where it's hard to pick the MF. And they don't have the dive access like they did game 1. But the trade-off is that they have a lot more ability to play the game with picks, but they just, how are you going to kill the MF?
All right. I don't think they, like you said, they can't dive her. So I think their play is to, I mean, MF is fed. Galio does a lot of damage, so this
Morgana on the flank. Gonna hit a Q onto the Sejuani, R, Sej, and Zonya's, and that will be a stun onto more Misfortune. That's 2 down for the side of Gold Gray.
Okay, as we said that Morgana flank
Yep.
was absolutely amazing, being able to even get the stun off right there on the Misfortune. So that's one way to do it.
That is actually that is game turning.
Yeah, that was just ridiculous. That he got the shutdown. Who got it actually? Galio.
Chat on. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Galio.
Not the most optimal, but
Right.
But for certain, it's great. Like, you're just taking away the momentum, and now you're gonna get objectives off of this. So yeah, that's really good. But I think that in fights to come, they're probably not gonna be looking to have as clean picks as that. They'll have like the one pick, and then from there they just like take the objective pretty much. I think that's the way it's gonna go.
I think they keep. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be able to do a pick and do a full team fight because they don't have. I don't know if their team fight's really that strong, even if they're 4v5.
I think Blue just needs to, or Exiles just needs to keep making these picks, because if they keep making pick after pick after pick, then GF's team fight is gonna be, it's not even gonna be a thing anymore. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how good their team fight is if they're however much gold behind and they don't do any damage. It doesn't matter how good their team fight is. They can pick a Grave, sure, but then the rest of their team is gonna kill them because of how ahead they are.
Yeah. What I do like about their comp especially is that, let's say that they went for a pick and they get a frontline character and they can't immediately kill them or something, and the enemy team decides to engage or something, like they're actually all collapsed, they got baited. They have so many ways to get out, right? Morgana Black Shield, Thresh Lantern, Galio ults defensively, right? Like, Gray Smokescreen even is a great tool at just entirely passing on the entire occasion. Just be like, yeah, I'm okay. I'm just gonna dash out, put the Smokescreen down, and we're chilling.
Right. They don't waste a lot, or they don't sacrifice a lot for trying to force plays, even if they waste some important abilities. They can just get out pretty easily. Yeah,
I think their ability to non-committally go for picks is kind of really, really great here.
Now, being behind and Gold Gray looking to sneak this Baron. Will Gold Blue
not a sneak
respond
in.
more time? Nope, here we go. They are aware. Trundle does have TP to join. Graves does not, so Graves will continue to push. See what happens around the Baron. Gold Gray ends up getting the Baron, comes to TP from Trundle. They're going to look for the fight. Galio dashes out, gets black shielded. It's a nice air frost and taunt onto the Trundle, and nothing will happen. Morgana flashes from the Nautilus Q, and wow, that is just barren for however many towers Aaron gets in the ball lane.
Yeah, I think that they responded just a little late with that. Maybe if the Thresh was a little closer, was able to lantern so they get vision, they'd have a better take. Not terrible to open up that bot tower, but obviously this is really good for the enemy team. Let's not get it twisted like
You
that.
see Graves meeting their rise in the jungle. Oh, he does burst him before the Realm Warp goes to it. Oh, wow, beautiful taunt from Galio. Two-man taunt. Thresh hook not landing. That is a one Baron buff gone. Nice Morgana Q onto the Misfortune with Pool, and Misfortune will fall. That is
Threading the
more...
needle.
Wow.
Oh my god, that was insane. Let's go.
Not what you want. Not what you want.
Yeah, right
It
after they
took
got this
Baron.
Baron. But I mean, the Baron was still like a good. Ended up being a good play, right?
Right.
Like 1.5k gold. It sucks that you got picked afterwards, but I mean, the picks were just bound to happen. Definitely getting the gold in your pockets. You need to get to your scaling. That Rise still is sitting on 360 fully stacked tier with no core item, to go with it. He's just kind of waiting here.
Graves finally has a kill. He's been 0-4 all game.
Yeah, and honestly, I think it's okay because
Yeah, it's okay.
I mean, Persona has gotten caught out a few times, but he's not like solo die to the Grays. I think that is important, that Persona's trying to make the use of his character, even though he's getting outlaned and side laned by virtue of the character. He did make a pretty good TP play to ensure the Baron, and like he hasn't given away too many kills straight up to his laner. So
I'm not quite what. GFs is obviously not in the lead. So what do you think they need to do to try to get back the momentum that they was looking like they had?
well, Nighthawk has a 600 gold shutdown sitting on him, and MF getting ahead would be very nice. Once again, Kraken, so she's going to be doing a lot of damage. She doesn't get picked. I think Rise needs
More
to
to
get...
bind onto Nautilus and the jungle.
Rise,
Nautilus might
yeah.
get picked out here. Nice Deerman ult from Nautilus. Misfortune gets a nice ult on 4 members. Here comes the Galio ult down. That all lands onto the Graves. A knock up on the Misfortune, she will fall.
Ooh.
And they will just continue to chase them down to their base. Nighthawk might burn the Nautilus. Nice Q onto Rise. Will they pick him up? Rise gets a shutdown on Morgana. That's huge, actually. Well, though Rise does get traded out. Nice hook from Young Shax onto Sejuani. Nice taunt from Galio. They're going to continue the dive. Here comes a TP from Graves. They're just
Ooh.
continuing, but Shax just goes for too much and falls.
Yeah, and that was honestly a really good team fight for Gray right there. Like, I think they came out ahead. Not just in shutdowns, but in straight up kills.
Flash. What? Flash from Sejuani will just fall?
Ooh.
Wow. This
Ooh.
Graves is doing so much damage. Will Galio live? No, he will not. Shutdown going over to Trundle. Graves will not be able to clean this up.
I was gonna say that the Graves bought the red elixir for nothing after his team overcommitted and kind of entered there on tower, but instead the red elixir turned out to be well worth its weight in gold, as he picked up 2 kills immediately on the overextension by the enemy team, thinking that their front line had enough defensive stats to outlive the Graves. And the one crit in Lord Dominic's 2 auto attacks, and Sejuani was gone, deleted. Absolutely just a monster character right there. Like, straight up, Duckmark said it. Graves has maintained a small lead, getting those early platings and always keeping lane power the entire game. But once he gets that second item power spike, it's like, hey, who fed this guy? Who did it?
Yeah, he's been farming all game. He has the most farm in the game, and not a lot of people know it, but they don't really act on it. CS minions are the best and single most reliable way to get fed in any game, anywhere you are, because it's guaranteed gold. If you are not farming, you're gonna fall off at some point,
Yeah,
no matter how many kills you're getting.
It is actually such an impressive lane Graves top. I'm expecting to see this picked up again by another team. For certain.
One thing I'd like to point out is that they although Morgana went 1-for-1, like she lost Darksteel stacks and gave over 700 gold shutdown or bounty
Yeah.
rather.
Yeah, for sure. Like I think we both said it. Like Rise needed that shutdown, and he got it. And now look at him. He
Right.
has Seraphs, and he has Everfrost. So like, he's kind of a character now. Like you kind of have to respect his damage a little bit. Like, for sure.
I would have tried to gone for Rabadon's. I know he's going Zonia's right now, and I would have just kept the stopwatch because I think he desperately needs the damage. But I mean, hey,
Team
it
Exiles
works.
setting
It
the
works.
trap here, missing the Morq, hitting the thresh hook. Nice Verse ult, gonna spread to 2 other members. Nautilus to hook, Misfortune, beautiful ult onto all of Team Exiles. However, Verse still very healthy, free hitting the Sejuani. That's just a nice hook onto Rise, TP coming through from the Trundle. Thresh will fall to Rise in the 1v1. Trundle getting taunted away from Galio, or taunted away by Galio. Morq hits a Q onto Trundle, and while continuing the fight, Varus still, no, he gets flashed on. He's gonna almost fall, but beautiful kiting from Mercurial just kill the Trundle. And wow, another flash Q from Nighthawk. This guy does
Oh my
not
God.
miss his Qs. Meanwhile, on the base, we have Graves 1v1ing the Sejuani to kill him.
Wait, are they gonna go for the end?
Wait,
He
they're
killed-
gonna go for the end.
He killed Rise.
Team Exiles TP
That's
to
it.
kill.
That's game.
That's it. That's game. It's an ace. And wow, that will be game 3. Going over to Team Exiles unless Nautilus is able to hold here.
Yeah.
2 shots is really all Graves needs to kill someone. That's wild.
In
character is
crazy
ridiculous.
fashion. A team, what was a 4v5 team fight. Meanwhile, Graves is ending the game, so Sedge has to back. Sedge is like low from the team fight. Graves kills them, and the base just falls.
Yeah, I mean, he did massive work. Great comeback from the beginning by Nighthawk this time around, and just wonderful job by their team finally being able to overturn the Trundle Overlord that was plaguing, the world map. But now that Trundle and Sejuani are gone, their respawn timers are up. I don't think we're gonna see them come back for a little while. At least one of them is not going to be picked next game, right?
Now that they know, they found the answer to the Trundle and the Sejuani, and it was the Graves. So,
Hopefully.
I think Graves is going to be the one that's going to be contested this time, or at least if he's not, then someone is going to, or at least I would guess Persona would be the one to try to counter the counter.
Yeah. I missed the stats there, but JR, how do you feel? You're a new man. You're what is it? 3 gifted subs richer now?
Oh no. We're going for the entire series.
Oh, for the entire series. Okay. So
yeah, I am in a good position here. Team Exiles winning was it 2 games in a row now. They're probably on this high. Yeah, I'm feeling great.
Yeah, I mean, and it really sucks when that's a pivotal game to take, right? Maybe not the most pivotal, but I think it theoretically could be, because you gain a lead, right, by game 3, and you say, hey, even if they pull out something crazy, something we didn't expect, they like prep some weird pick that just does something unorthodox for game 4, we can have an answer or ban it by game 5. You have time to work with, and obviously you're going to want to close it out, and you can ride the momentum to just win the game out 3-1 here in game 4, and I think that's what they're going to be looking to do.
Yeah. I'm just trying to let that last game just soak in. There was so much happening during so many stages of the game. I couldn't keep up some of the time.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing what we can, but that was definitely a crazy one.
Both top laners at some point in this series have been taking advantage of split pushing, and it's been working out a lot. It's been actually the winning condition for I think all the games. That's for the most part, there's been someone who's been splitting while there's a team fight, and they've been succeeding. So
I think that's
split pushing. Sorry,
I was just gonna say, yeah, I agree. Split pushing is kind of one of those things where it's like, if you don't trust that your team can win the team fight, or that the enemy team can answer your split push, it's like has an extremely high return rate. I think it's like almost cheese, right? It's like, hey, we're playing the game, we're doing team stuff, and then they're meanwhile doing this cheesy, like, don't even care that we're doing team stuff. They're not even one person is taking our entire base. Meanwhile, right? Like, it has worked, huge dividends for these games. But I wonder now that the Trundle has been taken off the board, if Persona's going to go back if he doesn't get it, or if he doesn't ban the Graves. I wonder if he'll go back to just picking like a team fight character and seeing if they can win that way.
Persona's. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say the draft is starting, but go ahead and finish your thought.
I was gonna say that Persona's really good at split pushing champs. I think Wei said it before. I think on one of the first two games. Persona is not a mechanically, not the most mechanically gifted person out there. So he makes up for that in other areas, in other ways, and split pushing is definitely the main one. He doesn't. He can highlight clip outplay his opponent, but he'll stay top. He'll play a character like Trundle, and he'll whack the tower, 24/7. And then while you're team fighting down there, and maybe you win, maybe you just go even. He took like 2 towers during that.
I just think that I think you're absolutely right, and the only thing is that I think Aaron Omnivamp might just be too strong in knowing the matchups and having the counter picks versus Trundle, or having the answer, that it might just be a little too difficult for Persona to make his strategy work. But we'll see.
Yeah, Aaron is a good player, so to the point where he can just say, "All right, you want to play that game? We're gonna play that game. Don't worry, we'll play that game. I'll match you. I'll do whatever you want. We'll play your game, but I'm gonna win."
Yeah, like Persona having to TP for team fight, it was a good play for them to secure Baron, but like it's not ideal, right, for Trundle to be TPing for team fights. So, do what you have to do. I think that it's definitely a rough world in that matchup, but we'll see if anything has changed, and it already looks like it is. JR, what are these bans?
Yeah, so going over the bans, first phase bans, Team Exiles keeping it the same, the Kassadin, the 2 early game junglers being the Xin Zhao and Nocturne, whereas GFs, they've opted to once again respect the Poppy, and now they're banning out the Trundle because they don't want to play against it, and this third ban is Kale. I won't let them ban it, but let me confirm for everyone, this third ban from GFs is Kale. So yeah.
Yeah, they are saying that if we can't play the Trundle, nobody can. All right, and this is entirely new territory, okay? Maybe without the Trundle, they don't have that +1 buff to synergy for the Phage Lord. Maybe they won't pick up the Sejuani here. Who knows?
Awesome. Okay, I cannot see the draft. It's not loading.
Yeah, it looks like the
it's not
draft
loading.
is frozen.
The draft is.
Oh, that's why it's just not loading for me.
Yeah, for same here, it's just like at 0.
Okay, we are going to be redoing the draft. It looks like, so hang tight for a little bit, but yeah, I mean Kale ban and Trundle ban. I think the Kale ban is a little weird. For somehow we have GFs because
someone said it was for Iroh. He must be nutty on Kale, because I wouldn't be banning Kale at any point.
Yeah, I think that Arrow is pretty good on Kale. It's one of his best actual mages, to be honest. But the thing is that Kale is also so good with like Sejuani, and they've picked up Sejuani every single game. So I'm kind of expecting that they would. I mean, obviously Kale's also good against Sejuani, so I don't know.
I think
it did. I think Draft Lol died.
Yeah,
I think the website's
we're
gone.
going over to Pro Draft.
We're going over to Pro Draft. All right, guys, I'm out. I don't want to see a Pro Draft. I hate that website.
Yeah, about the Kale, I remember when I was playing on Team Exiles, Kale was just like this solid pick. Like everyone else can play for the early and mid game, and then Kale will really be there to just hammer the win home if we needed it, right? And your comment about picking Sejuani, even more relevant now that Trundle was banned. That opens up the opportunity for Sejuani just to be picked freely, because like the Trundle counter pick is not there anymore.
They've been really good at picking Sejuani and Trundle together too. So on the side of Gray. Okay, I had to hold a sneeze there, but I'm okay.
Does anyone know the rules? Gray is asking for a 10-minute break, but then Nighthawk says they took their break last game. I don't know the rules of breaks between games.
There's always doesn't matter how many. There's always like a max of like 10 minutes per between games. It's not like you only take one and that's it.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's see what the teams end up doing here. I'm not exactly sure how they wanna casters are. Everyone's ready on this end, right?
All right, let's hope they can go through. Yeah, we're ready.
Yeah.
But
So be a little bit more careful with ProDraft. ProDraft is very, very strict with locking your stuff in.
yeah, we'll see
You know
if
how
they
in
can get it right though.
You know how in the client, when you're trying to lock in a ban or lock in a pick, when it hits 0, you still have like at least like 3 seconds when it hits 0 to actually lock something in before it like screws you over.
Yeah.
Pretty sure everyone knows what I'm talking about. So Draft Lull tries to mimic that same buffer period, but Pro Draft, the second it hits 0, in fact, the second it hits 0.5, if you don't lock in, that's it. You didn't do anything. You didn't lock anything in.
For everyone in chat, I threw up the prediction really early. There's still like 2.5 minutes left for you to predict who you think will win game 4. Keep in mind the game score right now is 2-1. It is a best of 5.
Hey,
2
actually,
being Team Exiles.
Actually, I think we should just delete the submission and then redo it.
Oh, okay, that's for sure.
Pick bands. If you can do that.
Oh yeah, I think I can cancel this one. Let me try.
Draft has started.
Oh, did you cancel it already?
Yeah, I think Soviet went ahead or something.
Okay.
Okay, yes, we are getting started with draft. They're going to redo some of their first few bands, and then we get into the nitty gritty and see what we're going to pick. Let me throw that up.
I will be right back. Give me 2 seconds.
Go for it.
Yeah, I'll throw up the predictions after the champ select or pro draft is done.
Yes, please, and thank you, JR. You are beautiful, King. Yes, we're getting back on it with the pro draft. Haven't seen the site in a hot minute. Oh my god, but doesn't
it hurts me to say pro draft. Yeah, so the same bands, Exiles keeping it the same, every game win loss regardless, just cast it in double junglers as I said before.
Yeah, they just don't want to see the Zenzel. Oh, is that a...
I'm confused if they did a complete redraft or they're trying to copy the last one because I don't know why they're hovering a Moo. I believe the second ban was Trundle. Okay, so they're just trolling with, the Amumu sad tears.
Alright, so just went to get some water, turned off the light. I'm one of those people who will be ready to turn off the light and then run back to where there is light because I don't like
They're just hovering troll band again. I'm gonna go for or maybe it was a misclick for the KL. They do share the first same 3 letters.
Alright.
It'll be interesting to see what Team Exiles ends up first picking here. Well, the pick didn't, or the band didn't go through.
And they trolled
that's
themselves.
KL.
Just like I told you. Just like I told you.
We already knew it was gonna happen.
That is the only That is the only. I think with Pro Draft before the rule used to be you get 2 mistakes. That was until we started using LOL draft.
Yeah.
But
So Ezreal being picked up here for Team Exiles. Last time I really played League, I remember Ezreal just being so potent because of the items in the game. He's just really good at putting out damage, living, just being a nuisance.
Yeah. He's definitely still has a lot of those strengths, and the Sejuani, once again, Trundle being left behind, but Sejuani have 100% pick rate. And that may be true for the entire series for all we know. This could be the last game. Remember, it is 2-1 in Exile's favor. Again!
Sedge Braum. They went for the Freljord buff, right?
They
What
are
is it with
still
these
going.
Freljord champions? I don't like it. I'm
I-
cold.
I know that a lot of teams are sort of picking up Braum as a support, and it's just so interesting because we almost didn't see any of Braum, like I think last split. So
He got a few buffs.
yeah, and I mean honestly, it's just teams have been doing a pretty good job of using him kind of effectively. I remember that when I was playing with Plat Blue, we were one of the first few teams that honestly like picked the Braum.
It's because Braum, over like a few patches, I think maybe one or two, he got a couple buffs. On top of that, Seraphine at a certain point was a really popular support, like
Yeah,
pick or ban. So and Braum was a very notorious counter to
right.
Seraphine being
And
able to block her charm. So
the,
naturally became popular after that, got more attention.
yeah, that and also the fact that Braum is really good with Ezreal, who also started seeing some buffs, I think, around the same time. So that makes sense. But Ezreal right now on the opposite side, Exiles again picking up the Morgana. This time it looks like they are opting for a team fight, anti-dive comp again. They got rid of the Trundle as a counter to Sejuani, but I think Morgana set are going to do similarly counter Trundle, but in different ways, right? So now they're gonna counter her in team fights, because every time Sejuani or Braum want to just like sit there in the front, they're going to be denied and be dealt a lot of damage with the Morgana pool and the set ultimate, of course, working against them. Anivia for somehow we
Oh
have
boy.
preference.
You're keeping the Frozen theme.
Yep, husband and wife picking the Anivia, as he did against me after they 5-ban mid and then took the Anivia from me. That was a fun
Five
game.
ban? That must have been
Yeah,
brutal.
I got five. Yeah, they 5-banned
Holy.
me and then they took the Anivia from me, so I basically got 6-man banned. That was a fun game.
Yeah, I think Anivia is a really strong pick here.
Anivia is really strong right now.
Well, also just with what they've seen, right? Like,
Oh,
Elena
yeah.
is not great against the Ezreal, but it also kind of stops the Morgana in the set in a lot of situations from being able to do what they want to do. Either it cuts them from their team, or it stops the engage entirely.
Oh yeah, just wall set off. That's it. That's it. He's nothing he can do.
Yeah, I mean, he just like eats the glacial damage, he eats the ultimate, he eats the snowball. He really just can't do anything about Anivia. Okay, some more bans coming down. Exiles getting rid of some of hottest cashier picks, it looks like. And
Plot twist is Braum ADC.
possibly the Tristana mid. I don't know if Arrow plays Tristana mid. I don't remember.
No, it's definitely Mercurial. Or no, sorry. No, yeah.
Yeah.
Mercurial.
Wait, Mercurial and
Or-
Young Shacks are on. It's cashier.
JK. Yeah. No, the cashier also plays Tristana. You have to lock it in.
I assume that was a Tristana pick.
Yes, it was a Tristana ban, I assume.
We'll see. We'll see in a bit, I suppose.
Yeah, we're still waiting in chat for confirmation on that ban.
I'm pretty sure it's Tristana.
Yorick, a new split laner, has entered the mix. And what will the answer be from the side of Exiles? Graves is up. I wonder if Aaron will pick it again. It did so much work last time, or if he's gonna pick something new. I mean, wait, no, he picked
Is there a
set.
chance? Is there a chance he takes the set? I mean, it could be set support. We don't know actually. I don't have any knowledge as to if it's favored more towards support or top lane for this team.
It's favored more towards top lane in general. I never seen Nighthawk play support or jungle set, so I doubt that's a thing for them. And Young Shax is a top lane main, so I could theoretically see him picking it for the bot lane.
Yeah, very true. I don't know top lane matchups that well. So it looks like Set will be just taking top lane and Shax will take Karma here.
Unless
Karma
maybe
has
it's Karma top.
Could be Karma top. This could be a
Could.
very crazy draft.
But I think it's although actually, if he did go Karma top, that actually would be a probably pretty good matchup into York.
See, they've picked. If I look at Exile's comp in a nutshell, I'm like, well, this looks really amazing, right? You're giving the Karma speed boost to everyone. You don't have great engage. It is just the Morgana. But once the Morgana and the Karma Shield come into play, the Morgana Q binding and Malzahar is able to start getting the ultimate off, it starts to look really good. But
Oh.
they still have no definitive answer to the Anivia, and this is where I'm worried, right?
Right. The way I see this happening is Ezreal, Karma, Morg are just gonna like poke away, and Team Exiles is happy to counter engage with Set, Malzahar, and Morgana just able to, CC and do damage. And somehow we have GFs has to respond to that. So either they get poked out or they have to go for the engage is how I see it happening.
Right. How I see is that Set can't leave top lane ever. He can never leave top lane when Yorick hits 6, because the second Yorick hits 6, he's gonna spawn his maiden, and he's gonna absolutely demolish the top lane faster than almost any champion out there. The second Set leaves top to go team fight, Yorick is gonna take his entire top lane.
Yeah.
But if Set stays top, now he's not now he's not in the team fight, so he has to choose. He has to choose his poison. What is he gonna fight with his team and try to force a 4v5 and hopefully win that? I would assume.
Right.
To then try to outpush the Yorick that's pushing by himself, or does he stay top, try to slow Yorick down from just taking his entire top and leave his team to 4v4 without him?
Yeah, and I think that one of the things is that JR has kind of laid it out kind of the way I think that it should be played optimally. Like, and this goes into kind of the weakness of their comp, right? Is that they have to play reactively. It's very hard for them to proactively find a pick that doesn't just get Anivia walled, right? Even if the Morgana binding lands, the Anivia wall could still stop them if she's there. So if Set does rotate down, like you were saying, then it's still very hard because they have to play reactively. They can't proactively start something. So if somehow we have Girlfriends is just able to stall for as long as possible, then Yorick is going to get amazing damage done on the opposite side of the map.
Right, and at that point, once Yorick gets like late game, you can't kill him. He's kind of like Trundle, where he builds Sunder, he goes Titanic, and then Sturax, and then Titanic, and that he can't kill him. He's unkillable.
Yeah,
for whatever reason, he's just never gonna die.
I really don't like the Malzahar pick because I don't understand what Malzahar really accomplishes when they want to play reactively anyways.
Well, Malzahar is a reactive. If they're aiming to play reactive, Malzahar is a reactive type of champion. Remember, he's an anti-carry. So he doesn't want to be the one to engage.
I understand
he wants to be
that,
the one to.
But Anivia outranges him as a control mage, and that was picked before him. And so, except for the ADC, which also has a longer range than him, by the way, I just don't see what he's gonna do. Like, who is he gonna ult besides Braum and Sejuani? Like,
right.
If they had picked Ziggs instead, I think they'd be in a really great spot. Because
so much poke.
Then they would have the poke and also be able to run away reliably with Morgana Karma, right? Like, they don't need... But now it's kind of harder for them to... I think that it's going to come down to a matter of time, right? The Yorick's going to be able to split push, and they don't have amazing poke. They have okay poke, right? Karma Q, Ezreal, Morgana, you can kind of consider her Q bindings to be poke in this situation. So they have alright poke. But if they had a Ziggs, the enemy team can't contest them almost at all, because Anivia really also wants to play reactively, right? She doesn't really want to play aggressively. And Braum Sejuani are just frontline, but with the backline they have, it would be tough for them. But now they're in a pretty alright spot. Okay, looks like we are just now starting with the champ select, and
I would have liked to see a Lux, actually, instead of a Malzahar. Malzahar actually would have been fine if they didn't have Morgana, but I think Morgana does a fine job of what Malzahar is going to do. And if Malzahar isn't anti-carrying anyone on the enemy team, which, I mean, I guess Jinx would be the carry, but Malzahar is usually meant for, like, a fed assassin or fighter that he can lock down, so they don't move. But since there isn't that, his main job would be to melt the tanks, because Malzahar does a lot of has high DPS damage and he builds Leandri, so he just shreds tanks.
Yeah,
But they already have Morgana for that, so
Mhm.
he doesn't need to be there because they already have something that does his job. If they had someone like Lux, you said Ziggs, but I like Lux better because she's a proactive player because she can throw out the snares, and being one of the snare sisters with Morgana, really good synergy and combo potential.
Right. I think I do have to agree. Like, they've already shown their mid lane, and we know that their top lane doesn't play a lot of Serpent Swing characters. So if you had picked Lux, A, the shields and Karma and Lux are pretty much almost unstoppable. And B, Lux is also one of the strongest anti front to back team fighter champions by herself. Like, her laser goes through the Braum shield, and it's going to hit everyone because Sejuani and Braum are going to walk together, right? And she outranges the Anivia. So, yeah, I do think that Lux is probably one of the best picks they could have picked. But in general, just having the poke here would have been nice. And I mean, you know, maybe
any artillery mage.
Maybe Arrow doesn't play it. You know, who knows? But we'll see if the Malzahar is still able to get a lot of damage down on these tanks, and how the fights are going to be played out, because this looks to me mostly like a 4-1, like a mixture of like a 4-1, a team fight, and a poke comp. So we'll see how that goes together from the Team Exiles side, how they're going to decide to play this, because it's just they have so much versatility, but I don't know if that it's one of those, you know, jack of all trades, master of none. Whereas somehow We Have Girlfriends have a clear, definitive strength that I think the enemy team has to play into.
Well, I have like a different perspective here. So we're talking about replacements for Malzahar, and I really liked Galio from last game. I don't, because for me looking Team Exiles, I see one tank that can't leave the lane, like Doc Mark said. And other than that, who's your front line, right? Sure, you can like get Morgana and Malzahar to kind of slow them down, but you have like no tank there. So I feel like Galio would be that tank for them, as well as being able to just ult top lane if they want to like 2v1 the Yorick or whatever. And plus the Galio last game was making a lot of proactive taunt plays, which was great to see.
Yeah, I definitely see what you're saying, that it's not a traditional comp that they have, and that Galio would lean them more towards a traditional comp. But my worry with Galio is that it is one of the worst lane matchups against Anivia. Maybe if they picked him like support. I guess,
yeah, that's one thing I wasn't sure about the matchups in mid. I don't play mid, but yeah.
If they picked him support instead of like the Karma, because it's Morgana jungle, right? So
yeah.
So then that could be a natural fit. But he still has a really tough time against Anivia in general. Like, he's just slow. Anivia gets to hit the ult on him, and he just doesn't go past wall as well. So, yeah. But for sure, if they wanted to take this team in a different direction, I could see them picking up another tank and just going for like a team fight or something. All right. I hope everybody can get their bets in. Are the predictions live?
I think
Or are they done?
I think they're done. I looked to go start them and they were already started again, so I was slightly confused.
Yeah, Soviet started it, and it looks like no one has voted for Somehow We Have Girlfriends. I guess husband and wife did not get to vote this time around because we do not see him. Maybe he doesn't believe this time around. Who knows? But I think he normally always bets on himself.
It'll be interesting game for anyone you guys have your eyes particularly set on after watching the first 3 games. Anyone you think was like really playing out of their mind and will probably shift this game?
Someone that will probably shift?
Or like someone that will like, you know, put the team on their back and just carry them through this 4th game.
Aaron or Nighthawk.
Aaron or Nighthawk? You think? I mean, Nighthawk did a pretty good showing last game on the Morgana. And Aaron has his signature set champion this time around. I don't know how exactly that lane goes with the Yorick, though.
I would assume Yorick wins that because I think Seth gets can get pretty overwhelmed with all the gold. Like if York has like just stacks of goals, he can just overwhelm Set like pretty easily, and it's hard for Set to really get in. But unless if Set can like just one shot, grab all the ghouls with the Haymaker and get York in it, then I think Set could win it. But I also think Set has a little bit more sustain with his passive. So
Absolutely. Okay. All right, we're just kind of chilling here. 1 minute left to go, and getting my water in, getting ready. This is game number 4 we're looking at.
Potentially be the last game if Team Exiles takes this game home.
Yeah, I mean, strong showing last game, and they really like triumphantly figured out I mean, it was a definitive solution to the Trundle. Like, they answered the split, they answered elsewhere. Hottest Cashier did get a small bit of a lead early game, which was worrisome, but it ended up not mattering in the grand scale of things, right? Now, Jinx Braum versus Karma Ezreal. These are both two very strong lanes at what they do, right?
Yeah.
Jinx hyper carry Braum front line, front to back. Karma Ezreal poke and 4-1 having a lot of mobility. So I don't actually know who this is going to go to, but my guess is that Ezreal... I do think that Ezreal Karma have an edge in lane, a definitive edge in lane, but we've seen Hottest Cashier very cleanly been able to find leads in his lane, even where we didn't expect them.
Mm-hmm. Well, whoever wins, I'm going to be playing them for semifinals. So, I'm just studying. I'm just doing some
I'm just
studying.
studying. Yeah, definitely doing some pre draft work, as I like to call it. Testing the teams. You got to see a pretty good display, right? Like,
Right.
you got to see how, in this particular game, how strongly preffed the Sejuani and the Trundle are, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I've had to go against the Trundle myself, and it's not fun because there's very few champions. If you're fighting them head on with like a champion that has to get in melee range, then it's very unlikely that you're gonna win. So, and I learned that the hard way, unfortunately. So, now we know some answers.
Yeah, you're gonna
Really quick. Let me just message my top laner. Can you play Graves?
Oh man.
If
Set.
yes, cool. If no, do it anyways.
All right, Normology is saying Set is going to struggle into the CC comp. I think Set is going to struggle a lot for sure into the Anivia. Absolutely.
It'll depend on the Black Shields from Morgana. If they're timed right, then Set can be lethal into the backline and just absolutely blow up the Jinx and Anivia.
So getting in, we're at about 10 seconds, right?
11,
Yeah, I'm at
12.
11. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
We've seen a lot of variety in the early game throughout all the past 3 games. Interesting to see what they do here. Standard 5-point from Team Exiles. And looks like a 5-point as well from We Have GF. Yeah, Gold Gray. Sorry, I forgot their team name for a second. Somehow We Have GFs. There we go.
Yeah, I do agree that the CC that the Frage Lord comp has is very impressive. But honestly, with Karma, Morgana, and just how much mobility they have, I don't think their backline has to worry too much. Like, if Ezreal's getting, hit by CC with as unreliable CC as they have, when you have a Morgana on your team and a Karma, then I think we have to reevaluate, how we're playing the game and how we're positioning and stuff like that. And that just comes at a base level anyways.
There's a lot of protection for Ezreal here, just with the shields and then Mouths if anyone walks too close. Plus he has his Arcane Shift. Like, I guess ideally, Ezreal, in no world is Ezreal ever in danger unless two of the members are down.
Yeah, I think even if a team fight goes badly, he should still be able to just literally just walk out of a fight. Like he should not be in too much danger with how easy it is to hit their front line, and that's pretty much what he's going to be doing with his arcane shift, or sorry, with his mystic shot. All right, so these laners have played already a best of 3 against each other, so they're kind of used to how each other play, even though this is their first time playing the entire split.
Aggressive
Playing
trades
each
in the
other,
top
yeah.
lane set brings Yorick down to 2 bars, and Yorick's gonna be looks like to be zoned off the wave off the map, or on the map, I can see. Karma Ezreal hitting the level 2, but not pushing for the advantage, not positioning correctly to punish the enemy team.
They're still getting a good amount of poke off. I mean, they're not like a engage sort of bot lane, so I think as long as you're poking them out safely, you're fine. Because you don't have sustain either, right? So
That's true. I guess I just wanted them to try to zone off XP as well, since they
Ooh.
did that level 2 and they had a lot of they have a lot of poke.
yeah, I think they could have definitely went for a little more aggressive play, but they're keeping it, short and simple and sweet. They're just gonna get their poke off and make sure they're not gonna get ganked. And they've got a couple of good trades off here mid lane, and York, now the ghouls are kind of coming into play, and he still has 2 corrupting pots, so he's not in a bad position.
Good shield from Braum there to block that Karma, not the Karma Q, sorry?
Yeah.
Yeah, Karma Q.
Imagine having to box up in top lane. It's just some fucking dead people. That's wild.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
Haymaker almost lands, but Yorick's
Ooh.
flash is out of it. That would have been first blood.
Yeah, and I think that was a good play to break the wall and not kill the ghouls there, because you were going to take minion damage the entire time.
Yeah, yeah. Clean right hook.
Okay, they are all out of health pots bot lane on the side of Team Gray, but that is not true for Blue. Has not popped a single one.
Here we see Sejuani looking for like a level 4 gank, but Karma Ezreal just so mobile,
Yep.
able to just walk away from the gank.
Now, that said, Ezreal is kind of and I don't think they're going to be able to do a lot more with their current mana costs. Yeah. Honestly, I think that they really should just want to push the wave and get a recall in of some sort, but I don't know if they're on the same page with this.
Here comes Nighthawk with a early gank of his own on the top side of the map. They're gonna auto the wall and land the Q onto York. York has no flash, keep that in mind. This will be first blood going over to Set,
Yeah.
and he's gonna be really happy about that.
It was a good try. Persona
Oh.
went for a sidestep, probably for the Morgana Q, but she just held it right there, and he was in a bad position. So, good call by Nighthawk, just waiting for Persona to make a bad move right there. And even though it was a great wall, it just was not enough to save him.
That is actually like so bad for Persona. Look where the wave is.
But Young Shark's
For-
getting aggressive, getting the root onto Jinx. Wow, they're just being bullied in this ball lane over and over again.
Yeah, but I just don't see them killing anytime soon. I guess Ezreal probably has biscuits, so that's kind of keeping him afloat right here. But
Sedge hovering bots out again. And
Well,
2 gold Gray's credit, although they are being poked out, like the Jinx is still even farm with the Ezreal. And here comes a gank from Sejuani, Arcane Shift coming from Ezreal. Heal, Karma look like she will be caught out. Here comes the Everfrost. The Braum passive is applied, but is not procced completely. Braum flashes away, Jinx heals him. And looks like Sums will just be burned. Never mind, here comes a TP from, who is that?
Arrow.
Malzahar. Arrow. Flash Q from Morgana. Misses the Jinx because she flashes, but it hits the Sejuani and she does fall. Wow.
yep, that was a great flash Q. That was literally like that moment where it's like that moment in chess where the queen just pins the enemy piece onto the king.
Absolutely
Like they can't
pinned.
move.
Yeah.
And one way or the other, someone's getting hit by this binding, unless you guys are just gonna somehow just be crazy and both dodge opposite ways. But it did not happen.
Pinned the queen to the rook. Queen flashed and then rook died.
Exactly. It was a monster Q right there. And
Oh,
okay.
Set going in, he ults the York. He's gonna miss the Haymaker, he's just gonna get autoed to death, and there goes York. So
Yeah.
0-2 start from this York. Because of the early game from Nighthawk.
I would have liked to see the flash just for style points, but obviously he didn't need it with the way York walked in there. But yeah, yeah, very good pickup by the set. Now definitely showing off his dominance in lane again, even though it's not against the Trundle this time. He's kind of just ready for what Aaron has to offer, and it's just like, yeah, I'm gonna wave management and just be really good at this game. You have 20 CS to my 40, and I have 2 kills. So that is like, oh, okay, wait.
Well, here comes Malzahar just going at it with Sejuani in the jungle. Looks like it's gonna be pretty even, although Malzahar does burn his ult.
I
But
think he was a little bit too trigger happy with his abilities, but got away. So guess
Here
he
we
did
see
the
Gold
job.
Gray setting a trap for Young Shax. Young Shax will get stunned up by the Braum passive, getting just like Ezra getting zoned off. He misses his arcane shift. He's forced to flash over the wall to get away.
oh,
And wow, just a great position from Gold Gray to get that pick onto Karma.
yep, definitely going for those bush strats, knowing that they were gonna come walking that way and had no idea where they were. So great idea from Gray, just using that vision to their advantage like that. Maybe from now on, Karma will hopefully be able to face check some more bushes and play a little safer around there, and that's kind of what they want. You want the enemy to be playing afraid.
Well, look at the vision on the map. Look at the amount of vision that Gold Gray has over Gold Blue.
Yeah, maybe this is the difference of having, you know, a support main on your team versus top lane turn support.
Yet again, we see Sedge here in the bot lane, maybe looking for a gank. Malzahar flashed away from what I presume was a Nivea Q.
Ooh, Persona even getting that blast plan. But yeah, it's not just the support though. Like, their jungle and their top lane and their mid lane have done such a good job in Gray's side, keeping the vision up on the enemy's team's blue buff.
So literally punching his way through through walls.
Yeah, remember when York was 20 CS? Well, now he's 22, and it's been about 2 minutes, so it's not looking good. It's looking... I think that a kill amounts to about 20 CS, so this is like the difference of having 100 CS to 20 CS right now. Like,
Right.
Which is absurd.
if we look at the gold difference, he is literally almost double his gold at 9 minutes in.
Here we see Sedge going aggressive for the Gromp. Nighthawk is defending his Gromp. I'm not sure who got it, sorry.
I think I'm pretty sure Morgana got that.
Morgana got the Gromp and
Oh,
she hits a
get the
binding onto
Q.
Sejuani. Say hits a nice arm to the wall, however, Gold Gray's ready to respond. Malzahar rotates. Nice damage coming out from the side of Team
He's
Exiles.
gonna live? No, he's not.
The haymaker was huge.
There was so much going on, but at the end of the day, when all the dust settles, Team Exiles come out on top.
Yep. They didn't even get like a big shutdown. They got a small shutdown, but I think Set has regained his shutdown over the course of the fight, even after having it being taken down because the fight was still going on. So that's just kind of yep, 3K gold lead on their side, and you know, it still is looking like almost a double his gold advantage there in the top lane.
Yeah, I think that's just really good wave management by Aaron. That is the only way that he could be that far ahead, is that he manages wave well, and every time he tries to freeze it, and Persona can't do anything.
Ooh, okay. Yep. Okay, good job. You know, being able to mitigate some of the trading potential that Set, you know, provides in this lane. And York, to his credit, has gone up a whole 50% CS in the last time we looked at it.
So, with this 3K gold deficit, if you guys are on Gold Gray, what are your thoughts right now? How are you gonna rectify or get back into this game?
Fuck York.
They-
Sorry. Sorry. I don't know if I can curse. I don't know if I can curse. I'm sorry. I just have it. It's came to mind. But essentially what I'm trying to say is that you can't... York is kind of a lost cause. You can't help him, and Set's probably just going to 1v2 you, so you need to focus on the Anivia, try to at least get her farmed up as much as possible so she
That
can
just-
start melting.
So just running down the York on his side of the map, kind of hits the edge of the Haymaker, but ends up getting York anyways. York burns
Ooh.
Flash, unfortunately, and does not live.
Yeah, Set's TP is coming up soon, so they're gonna have to start this dragon really soon if they want to do it. And the Rift is going down as well by Nighthawk. So it looks like they are gonna just be giving away a lot of this map control right now.
Fighting for river control for this dragon, they dropped the Herald to gain the river control. See if it actually pans out working or ends up working for them.
I mean, yeah, Persona TP top lane. He's trying to keep the set here.
Or 1v1. There's a lot of ghouls on the map. Aaron better be careful, but I guess Haymaker, we'll see how the Haymaker changes the fight. There's a Haymaker, doesn't do as much as I expected. And wow, actually really close there, considering it's level 8 to level 10 and 40 CS deficit.
Yeah, and the Mythic not even there too. I think if Persona had hit that slow and the Ghost chased after Set there, I think that Set would have actually died. So that was really close. But Set's team is going to pick up the dragon. Back to what you were saying earlier. What does Gray do to take back some of this momentum? And I think it's all up to either the Anivia or the Jinx. They are your carries, and they need to get ahead.
That's it. Yorick is going to sink or storm on his own. There's nothing you can do to help that. And if you try to help it, you're
See it play in the
ignoring
mid
the
lane.
rest of the
Morgana
lane.
pops the R into Anivia. Anivia just not going anywhere with Morgana R and Malzar on her. She's for sure gonna die.
And it's like really tragic. You guys really need to stem the bleeding as much as possible right now. Every single death is just that much closer to this game getting out of control. Like, you need Anivia to be in the game. We need to wait for her Mythic before we make any plays.
Once again, Aaron just running down Persona because of how disgustingly ahead he is and just wins the 1v1, is going to shove the wave under tower, and York's going to fall further behind, especially because he doesn't have TP.
Yeah. All semblance of hope that York had in this lane, I think, is kind of gone at this point. Like, he almost had a nice 1v1, as we said earlier, but at least until he gets Sunder, I just don't see how he's ever able to walk up to wave that isn't under tower. And soon there will not be a tower for him.
Yeah, he needs his maiden, and he needs a bunch of ghouls, and he needs Sunder for him to be able to take on the set. Yorick is still strong. He's not weak by any means, but he needs to have the right conditions to be able to come back from his deficit.
Yep. Let's see. Let's look at the mythics right now. It's just Malzahar and Set so far who have the mythics. And I think Ezreal will be looking at his soon. I mean, obviously he has to waste a little gold to spend on the boots and the tier, but yeah, he should be getting it soon. Let's look at the gold. Yeah,
He should have it at about 200 more gold.
exactly.
100, actually.
Top tower did fall as the first tower. Mid tower is not looking that much better for wear.
It's tough. It's tough because we not even like we're looking at both sides, and we could obviously say just wait it out, but it's tough to even say like what even we would do, because the answer is not always
right.
Clear, and it's not always ideal.
I think that, just to make a reference here, but Plat Black, who was originally Gold Black. Oh.
No, Nivea just getting dove under her tower. Here comes 4 members of Team Exiles just deleting the Anivia. Wow.
Yep, nice pick right there. And they're able to be gone before the reinforcements are arriving. But maybe they actually want some of this, because Set's sticking around, looking for the play. Mid tower's going down.
Yes, Set to be an absolute menace. And here comes Malzahar ult onto the Yorick, and he falls as well.
Yep. And we're not done yet. They're going for the kill blow.
Set goes and flashes behind. Gets a decent R. Not able to. Seema doesn't follow up. Oh, Jinx Rocket narrowly missing, but I don't think it was enough to kill anybody there.
Definitely not.
So they lost another 2 members. The enemy team did blow Set our flash for that, but I think that this dragon is still probably theirs, which is the most important thing, regardless. Yeah, I was going to say that Plat Black, who was originally Gold Black, they developed this style, which is like playing from behind, where they know, hey, we can give these dragons, we can give this space, we give up this space, we're like, hey, our bot lanes, you know, or whoever our lanes are not ahead. We just don't contest. And that was such a useful skill and a skill that is quite honestly underdeveloped by a lot of teams, not correctly estimating how much they can get away with and going for too close to the enemy and trying too hard to create pressure when really what their team needs is just to not die for the next few minutes, right? And that's really what they need. Anivia's died twice in the past few minutes, where I think that if she had just stayed 0-1, she'd be in a lot better position. But now, look, she had to back at this awkward timing when Dragon's coming up, when she just got her Mythic, where she just starts to get powerful, but the enemy team has the prio on everything right now, and they have the poke, right?
Yeah, so there's not they can't really walk up. I mean, Sejuani is not nearly. She doesn't have Mythic, so she's not tanky enough to
Here we see
to
Aaron
just
going on the
engage.
back line. Navia is just going to get shredded. Malzahar ults the Sejuani, which is forced to jump away. Braum ults, but this isn't enough to stall. He will fall, and Sejuani is soon after falling. And here comes Karma with a flash. Wow, Morgana and Karma flash to just stun the Jinx, and she will fall as well.
And I think that might have sealed their fate. I mean, Persona, I feel like him and Jinx were the only two people who had the right idea not to contest this. And who are playing like far enough back. Like Persona split pushing top lane because he knows like we don't really win this fight. And yeah, I can TP, but we're better off just stalling and sitting back. And if I get tower, like we get at least some gold in our pockets and we get back into the game that way. But them losing 3 people for that, it's mitigated all the gold that he's really getting right now.
He's just gonna get the tower. He doesn't care.
Yeah, York is gonna trade his life for the tower. I mean, at this point, with or what was 6 deaths, what is now 7 deaths, maybe it's worth it.
Yeah, I mean, getting the tower is worth it. Period. I just need his team needs to not be taking a fight that is so cleanly lost. I think. At the same time, he does have Sunder. I mean, maybe he has a chance of 1v1ing the set. He get a huge shutdown if he managed to pull off the moves. But like you guys have said, he is he's down 2 levels and pretty much an entire item. Like set his finished Sterak's and is halfway into building a Titanic. So not looking too great.
No, the Malzahar is just gonna. I would assume Malzahar would just stay top and match the York because Malzahar can match York's wave clear pretty well. Scary thing about York that makes him such a good split pusher is that his kit, he naturally tends to stack the wave like effortlessly, you know, in a way that other split pushers can't. Because of his ghouls, he has such a he ends up creating these massive waves that are really hard to deal with, and you have to answer. You can't let it go.
All right, and they're going to be looking to... They already kind of went for the throat already with the mid lane play that they were making, but they're not done yet. They're looking for this Baron.
Yep. Potentially, the only saving grace here is if Sedge is able to steal it cleanly. We'll see as the Baron drops lower and lower. Here we go, 4K. Looks like Exiles is slowing down the DPS slightly. Shax is walking around to maybe get some poke off. Nice Ezreal R. Here comes Sejuani really early to the pit. Malzahar ults to Sejuani, and Team Exiles secure the Baron. And they might have secured them the game here as Aaron runs down the team. Massive haymaker going on to 3 members of their team, but Team Exiles is slow to react.
Ooh.
They're gonna start to run them down, and wow. Beautiful root coming out from Morgana, and looks like the rest of Gold Gray is set to fall.
And
that might be the game.
And a clean fight. Like, this game was actually kind of insane what the lead they got away with. We had all said, right? Classic commentary's curse that has been playing us the entire series. But we'd all said, yeah, Set has a really rough time this game. There's no way he's able to really do much in team fights. But he generated such a lead, and he used his flash effectively. Like, he did not even use flash last fight, and he was able to do all of that. Anivia just did not have the levels and wall to be able to stop him with the Infernal Dragon, and it actually even mattered so much. Wait, but fight's still going on. They are saying we're not done yet.
They are overstaying a little bit. I think they're good though. They're out.
I think if you're Gray at this point, you just want the enemy team to take the 4th dragon and hope for an Elder Steal. Like, that's pretty much the only way I see you turning this game. It's very desperate at this moment.
Like you're not gonna be you're not gonna farm enough in the next 5 minutes to be able to just magically get ahead enough to win a fight normally.
They've done a good job not saving their lives but saving their turrets, so at least the enemy team has something to like
To
stop
work
them.
with.
Yeah, exactly. They have some obstacles to overcome before they can actually win the game, but those obstacles have to pay their weight in all of these shutdowns right now. That's the only other way they can come back, is Anivia hits the 2nd item power spike by getting this set, this Malzahar, this Karma shutdown even. Any of these would be super nice for them, because right now we're looking at a 15k gold deficit.
There is 2k gold worth of gold and bounties on Team Exiles, so maybe there can be some miracle comeback if all that gets funneled into Jinx at this point. Look, seeing as she's ahead in farm, but you know, behind everything else. So Sejuani is gonna look to engage onto Malzahar, which she just gets ulted, and wow, Aaron just walks in and deletes the Jinx and proceeds to almost delete the Braum. Sedge is gonna keep burning and burning down
Wait,
to
when?
Malzahar.
Oh.
Maybe a base race here
That's
coming in
not-
from Yorick. We do have a TP from Malzahar.
You don't want to
we'll
be
see
base
if
racing
he
to Yorick.
TPs. We'll see if Malzahar TPs, but Malzahar, I mean,
Yeah.
Yorick is beating down that top tower as Aaron takes another member from Gold Grey down.
I guess this was the other win con I did not consider. But
So Malzahar did end up backing.
oh, Infernal is just so strong in Malzahar.
Wow, Malzahar just
Oh.
absolutely burns down the Yorick. And there goes any glimpse of hope for a base race.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, oh. Okay, Infernal's almost taking down LBX Care Bear, but Sejuani's going to walk back to Fountain, but nothing is really going to be able to stop this set. And it
Now
looks
they're
like
gonna keep walking in. Karma damage. He's gonna walk in, kill the Braum with the stun, and that is the series going over. Oh wait, hold on. Maybe there's some more play. They're playing for KD here. Nope, that is game 4.
Aaron
And the
says-
series going over to Team
Aaron
Exiles.
says he wants the MVP. He tried to. He team fighted 4v1 and they could not kill him 2 team fights ago. Like, the guy is clearly cracked this game, and just like a phenomenal showing. Generating that lead top lane, and that pretty much tilted the game entirely in their favor. Amongst some other things, a lot of other things went well, but that was just the most unexpected one, right?
Right. Pretty ironic. I think Gray's best game was the game where they had 5 bans.
They had
lost
5 bans taken away.
Yep, that was the one game they managed to win. That was 3-1, right? Well, Trundle did phenomenal work this game, but you know, overall they were able to figure out a way to beat it, and then after that it was kind of like they kind of figured out the enemy team right after the first few games. After the first 2 or 3, they were like, yeah, okay, we seen your tricks and we know how to beat it. And they did the adaptations, and just, you know, great job all around.
Mm-hmm.
So here comes the tried and true question. Can somebody set up a poll for me? We are talking about yours truly. Everyone in the Twitch chat gets to participate. Team MVP, who was it on the side of Team Exiles? What are we looking at?
I'm setting up the poll right now. Hopefully no one else is.
All right, here's my thoughts, right? Game 1, they didn't really have much going for them. I'm not going to say that Young Shucks threw the game, but getting the overlead to the enemy happened games 1 and 3. Doesn't look great for him in the bot lane, right? That said, game 2, he definitely did fantastic work, I think. Just being a natural counter to the entire team wants to do and just making a huge lead early on with that Poppy support. On the other hand, I think that Exiles has exploited a weakness in the top lane with against Persona, kind of taking apart all of his playstyles and shoving them back down his throat. They outsplitted him, they out-rotated him, they kind of just able to catch onto whatever Persona wanted to do after game one and match him 1-for-1 with it once they had adapted to it. So, and obviously great shout outs to Aaron for this game around. I don't even have to say it. The unexpected MVP of this game for sure was Aaron Omnivamp on that set.
I set up the poll. Maybe I should put it for 5 minutes, put it for 3 minutes. Hopefully everyone in chat can get their votes in on time.
Arrow did really good job even in the game they were losing, I think. Was it the one he played Kiana? And there's a couple times he got outplayed by the Misfortune in game 2, but otherwise he did a pretty solid job the entire way through. And Nighthawk as well did, pretty well even when Nighthawk lost the lead early on. So honestly, I think that it has to go between Arrow, Aaron, and Nighthawk. It has to go to one of them for me.
I would probably do Aaron.
I think I'm leaning towards Aaron myself, but I definitely do want to mention that Nighthawk and Arrow, I think while they had less of the spotlight on them most of the games, they didn't really make that many mistakes throughout the entire series. Who did Nighthawk play game 1?
Oh gosh.
Did he play Morgana?
No, he didn't.
I have the drafts like literally right here. I could just look at them. He played Diana, right? And there was that one misplay where his team decided to fight, and he didn't make it in until like the very end. I don't know if his stuff wasn't up or he decided not to go. But besides that, I think the Nighthawks played pretty well. Arrow, I can't remember him making any really big mistakes out of laning phase, and in laning phase he generally won anyways. And then of course, yeah, Aaron did obviously phenomenal. What were you saying, Joe?
For me, I think I'd have to give it to Nighthawk, simply because he was like, for me, the most consistent throughout the series. Always, like, especially when he was playing on, or he was on the Morgana, hitting a lot of key Qs, enabled his team to do so much more, as well as some key black shields as well.
Yeah, I think he had a pivotal role in several of the games, especially with his character pick, right? It definitely felt in line with what his team wanted to do,
right,
the entire way through. Like his pick made them one of the most sense the entire way through the entire team comps. So, and he showed his consistency throughout, right? Morgana whenever they want the anti-dive, Diana when they want the dive, and is that all he played? He played 2 games Morgana. He played 1 game Diana.
He played Sejuani, right?
Oh yeah, he also picked the Sejuani away from them game 2. Forgot. Or was it? Yeah, it was game 2. That was, yeah. He just did what his team wanted him to do, and I think that's really all you can ask for as far as Arrow and Nighthawk.
Let's Aaron.
Well, Aaron did manage to take it, our premier new caster himself. So let's get him over here for the interview. Let me go ahead and message him and see if we can get him in here.
They must be over the moon in that call. I so badly want to join the call to hear the kind of energy and vibe that's in there right now.
All right. Yeah, Aaron said he is ready, so we can go ahead and get him in here. I'm going to go ahead and move him, and all right. How are you doing, Aaron?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, we just saw your team take it 3-1 versus Gold Gray. I mean, prior to starting the series, were you worried at all about, what was your feelings going into quarterfinals?
Pretty confident, especially like I just feel like the kind of. I mean, I was going into it like thinking we were gonna roll game one just because we didn't have any bans, but some unfortunate stuff happened. The game one. But I had some. We had some ideas drafted out, and we kind of, I think, our coach helped us draft out pretty good comps, and then all we did was just make sure we follow the win conditions and play it out how it's supposed to be played out. So.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously, great job. Did you actually expect the Trundle pick from Persona?
Oh, yeah. That's like his most played champ. Yeah.
Uh, I definitely expected, like, having me do the, because I do draft work for all the games that I cast as analysis. And I was like, this is going to be such an interesting game because very clearly to me, Aaron and Persona are two very foiled people and personality and in playstyle, and yet they have some of the most contested picks in this game. You guys both have been pretty much two tricking Trundle and Graves in the past week. So I was like, there's no way that these are not pick or prio picks for both teams, right?
Yeah.
And surely
I don't think from what I heard, like he talked to me a little bit, like after the game, he was like, yeah, he was not expecting me to pick Graves. He thought I was just playing that for fun. No. That's my secret pick. That just, I guess now you guys know about it, but
yeah. So that was kind of exciting for me to watch and see how that went down. But you guys clearly had very good answers to actually after game one that you had adapted, and even then in game one, I think you played lane very well. So props to you. What my last question for you personally is, what was your favorite play of the game?
Not gonna lie, the Graves play from game two, where I'm just trying to backdoor and end the game, try to kill everyone, and I barely live with 5 HP and have to literally have to stop hitting the Nexus to life off the minions is pretty funny. And then my whole team, like Galio is just like trying to kill some guy. Nighthawk's desperately trying to kill the Nexus as Morgana. I'm just trying to hit the minions, trying not to die to minions. Like,
yeah, Galio ulted you.
Pretty funny. Yeah.
Galio ulted you when the ignite happened. I remember. Yeah, that was a pretty great play of the game for sure. All right, Duckmark, you got any questions?
Oh. So, like you said, you guys went back and forth with like Trundle, and then I thought he was gonna take the Graves, but he didn't. With these matchups, like going in, Persona is very split push oriented as a player.
Yeah.
Did you plan to like just match him, or did you plan to focus on the team fights? Or did you focus on the lane and be like, all right, I'm going to beat him, kill him, so he can't do anything, and then I'm going to go with my team?
Yeah. It's like, I first of all in draft, like I wanted to get the counter pick on him. And so I just pick a winning matchup, lane better versus him, snowball early, and then shut him down. And then if he's not able to split push and use his lead, doesn't have a lead, I don't really see him doing much for his team. So I just tried to prioritize that. And we try to as well have our jungler career on top side to give me that lead to make sure, because like once I get a lead, I know how to use it and how to shut him down. So
I had a question for you, Aaron.
Okay.
So after coming off of a win, I believe you guys will be facing Gold Green, if I'm not mistaken.
Me.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what are your thoughts? Like, how are you gonna mentally prepare and like actually prepare for this game?
Bank
Oh,
out.
I'm gonna it's gonna be like the
Bank
Karate
out.
Kid, like the final match, he's been this freaking evil Chobi and
Bank out.
just making fun of me, all split on Team Red. And now I'm here with this team, and I want to show them that there is some competition for them, and that they need to maybe take it a little bit more seriously than they thought. So
Bank out.
All right, for sure. I'm gonna love to be able to see maybe cast or at least watch and see how that goes. You guys will have to leave me with bated breath as we move on to the other games that are going to be happening. But yeah, I mean, great job for you and your team. Aaron, any shout outs you have to say before we end the interview?
Shout out to Edgeman, Nighthawk trying to keep the team together, and Gyro also trying his best to get through these rough patches we've had as a team. But we made it this far, and we're either gonna win it or we're gonna lose it. But we're gonna go out as a team. So yeah.
Aaron just joined the team like a week ago. He's like, "We made it this far, guys. Together, all one. I was here the entire time."
True. I was there in heart even when I wasn't on the team, so we're in them on.
All right. Well, fantastic. Great job out there, and I'm sure I'll see more beyond the Rift when your games happen. But we are going to be in an interview now. Have a good night, Aaron.
You too.
Next game, I believe, will be Friday with Lilac and Pink.
All right.
Lilac and Pink.
Lilac and Pink, quarterfinals, best of 5. I can't cast that game for certain reasons, but we will be having some talented people out there for show. I am certain. I think that is going to wrap up our cast. JR, you want to close us out?
Well, for anyone that's been here from the very beginning, I'd like to extend a thank you from everyone here on the Twitch team. Like, we appreciate all the support, and it's really exciting to watch the quarterfinals and all the work that the teams have put in so far to get to this stage. Like we said, there is a game this Friday, so look out for that. Other than that, everyone have a great night. It was a pleasure casting for you.
All right. Absolutely. You guys have a good night. This is twitch.tv/IAmWay signing off.